still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the lands of the
This is ESPN 1025 The Game. From the Hillside Medical Game Studios, WPRT FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne. Broadcasting on Alexa.
I appreciate that.
And other smart speakers. 1025 and 1063.
Terang, it's a high fly ball.
We got pass rushers.
Awesome game. Second flag in the air.
The Game.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Now let's see if we can bring them to life, all right?
Bringing you entertainment and informative sports talk during your workday.
Smart, funny, classy, and I like him a lot.
This is Chase, Willie, and D-Mace with Chase McCabe, Willie Donick,
Mason, touchdown, Tennessee.
and former NFL wide receiver Derek Mason on Nashville's best sports talk, 1025 and 1063 The Game, and on the Game Nashville app.
This is a new level of geek you got going on here.
And good morning, everybody. Welcome in to Chase, Willie, and D-Mace on this Wednesday. ESPN 1025 The Game, 1063, and the Game Nashville app. Willie Donick, Derek Mason here with you today. The suit has got suit duties today. He's here.
Oh, yeah.
He's buzzing
here.
all around the hallways.
He's here, but he's
very busy.
Yeah, but that's the suit, man. You can't, it's one of those deals where, hey, when the suit has things to do, he has things to do. You gotta let him do it. You gotta let him be a pelican. He's a pelican. Let him fly, man. Let him fly.
Why a pelican, D-Mace?
You have never seen the movie? What was it? With Mark Wahlberg and
That's a peacock. That's not.
No, yeah, peacock, not pelican.
Yeah,
you're
that's
right.
from
Peacock.
The Other Guys.
Yeah, The Other Guys. That was one of my favorite movies. But yeah.
So wait, we got a peacock and a pelican?
Yeah.
Those are two kind of
Two
different looking birds.
Yeah. But let them both fly, man.
Let them both fly.
Yeah.
What the heck? Yeah.
They got wings. Let them fly.
Can a peacock fly?
I don't know, but we're gonna let them fly.
Highly
down.
doubt it. Highly doubt it.
My favorite.
He probably can't fly far, but he probably can get in the air.
I was this is the weirdest thing, but at my brother's rehearsal dinner when he got married, we were in Ojai, California, and we were at this really scenic place for the rehearsal dinner, and there happened to be peacocks that were not far away from where the dinner, the deal was. And every time somebody would say something real emotional, the sisters of the bride and the brothers and the family are all talking, and it was getting emotional. And every time it seemed to happen, the peacocks started making their noises and started making everybody laugh. Like, wait a minute, we were getting all sentimental here, and we can't get the peacocks to shut up. But that's what comes to mind for me. But yeah. Okay, so we started off on pelicans and peacocks, and we're ready to rock and roll.
Absolutely.
So, D-Mace, we're now removed from Sunday for a couple of days here.
Yes.
We're calming down a little bit. The freak out is going to be, I would say, turned towards Monday here soon. But you got that extra day, right? In fact, I think the Titans are off today. So what is this like? I think this has got to be tough, right? If you're in that locker room, you've got to be in that mindset. You can't wait to get back out there. Right?
Yeah, because you know that you let an opportunity get away from you. This was an opponent that, if you put on paper, you were better than at just about every area and facet of the game. But just because on paper you're better than that team doesn't always equate to a win, because typically, you get in the game and things happen. And it's about how you react to those things. Now, in the Titan situation, they played really well the first half. Second half, they didn't. Again, I go back to this team. I believe they came out to play, but when you come out to play, you also got to execute and do the things that the coaches are asking you to do. You can't come out and think, oh, we got this game in hand, so I can kind of, I can kind of circumvent what we got going on. Meaning, if I'm supposed to step outside, then step outside. Don't think, oh, I can step inside and then get a better angle and block the guy. Well, no, that's not what the play is called for, okay? Step outside and do your job. If the play calls for you to set the edge, don't think on this specific play, oh, I can shoot inside and get the runner. No, set the edge like the play is designed for you to set the edge. Things like that, in the games, that's what happened with the Titans. Instead of, that discipline spilling over into the second half, there were a few guys that went outside of the disciplined nature of what Coach Vrabel teaches, and it bit him in the behind. Whether it be a long run, whether it be a stop on 3rd and 1, if you do what the coaches are asking you to do, then the play works, or you give the play an opportunity to work. If you don't do what the coach is asking you, then the play has no way to work. That's how football is played. If you do what is asked of you, more times than not, the play will get done the way it was designed. If you don't, then you will have disastrous plays like we had this past weekend with the Titans.
Yeah, no question. And so the theme that I have been thinking about since Sunday, and I think this would have been true, but the urgency maybe from losing the game might help. I'm not sure, it's just human nature, but the teams that improve over the course of the season are the teams that are going to be successful. You can get away with a bad loss if you learn from it, if you get better. And I think that's got to be the mentality. And does it help that you're playing an elite team in week 2 to some degree? Because it's almost like there's a little bit of fear of, man, if we don't go in there and be way better than we were on Sunday, we have no chance. They're going to kill us.
Yeah, but you want that. You want that type of mentality, whether you're playing a good team or a so-called bad team, that we got to come out here and we got to play 4 quarters of football. It's not going to be flawless, but we're not going to beat ourselves. We're not going to do things outside of who we are as a ball team. We're not going to coach outside of who we are as a coaching staff. If you just stick to those principles, which Coach Vrabel staff and team, they typically do. But, since he's been coach with the Tennessee Titans, there has been situations or games where it didn't happen. And it typically happens to teams that they are better than for whatever reason. And that all, again, falls on Coach Vrabel. He has to make sure whether they're playing the Buffalo Bills, who many consider the best team in the NFL, or they're playing the New York Giants or the Jacksonville Jaguars, who some believe, at the beginning of the season was the worst team in the NFL. You have to be able to play and come out with the same mentality every game. I get it. It's hard week after week after week after week to kind of get yourself up. But this is what you get paid to do. This is what you enjoy. This is what you love. This is why you come to work, to be challenged every day with the new opportunity to get better.
We're going to do a little bit of everything today. Derek has some inside numbers from Pro Football Focus on how the Titans utilized Derrick Henry in Week 1, and we'll sort of ask the question, are these some clues to what they want to do over the course of the season? We're certainly going to check in from time to time on that because there's so much riding on Derrick Henry being a guy that can carry the offense. We'll tell you that a little bit later in the show. We'll look at some NFL games that we haven't really gotten a chance to focus on much because we've talked so much about Titans-Giants. And so we'll look at some of the other stories around the NFL. We'll also check in with Jonathan Hutton today at noon, and we'll talk some Titans with him. We'll get down and dirty with Hutt. And later, we're hoping to go out to Buffalo and see if we can get a little report on the Bills. How could it be going any better for the Bills at this point? But maybe, just maybe, could this be a good time to play them when they're riding high a little bit? We'll find out on Monday, right?
Exactly.
Also, they've got to be itching to get out there again. They played Thursday, and they have the whole weekend, and now they don't play until Monday. That's a long time between games. Like, when you get started, I would think you'd want to get back out there.
Yeah, that's like a mini bye, So typically when you play that Thursday, you're going to come back and watch film that Friday. You're going to be off Saturday. You're going to be off Sunday. Then you come back in on Monday. They give you off Tuesday or Wednesday. So you basically almost get you a 5-day week off, Essentially, it's broken up, but you essentially get almost 5 days off. And, you're into the season. That doesn't happen, But when you play a Thursday game, typically, you get those extra days to prepare. So hopefully it won't help the Bills. Hopefully it hurts them because they come out a little sluggish. But we'll see. This is what we're hoping for. Anything that will take, a little sneak attack up in Buffalo. We'll find out. I don't think you're sneaking nobody. By the way, I want to thank Dan, our texter. And speaking of that, on our text line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, you can text us anything throughout the show, things you want discussed today, questions you might have, Titans or Predators, who, by the way, the rookies are skating today. It's, starting over there. The guys have been informally skating for a while. We talked to Roman Yossi about that on Monday. But we're starting to get inching closer towards training camp. So if you've got Preds questions, things that you want to discuss, you can text us anything at 615-737-1025. Even giving us information like this, Derek. Dano says a peacock can fly at least to the top of a 2-story house. Oh, see? So peacocks can fly. Yeah, peacocks can fly. Okay. They got wings. According to Dano, maybe we have to double-check this during the break, because are we sure that Dano knows? It certainly seems like he knows. I think penguins can fly a little bit, too. They can? I think so.
Certain ones can. I think it's a puffin.
Yeah, see?
Listen to the rookie back there dropping knowledge about birds.
Absolutely.
Man, we got everything on this show. All right, when we come back, we're going to go around the NFL, talk some topics that are happening around the league. We're going to bounce them off D-Mace. And if you've got questions, once again, 615-737-1025, or just interesting facts about birds. That's fine. You can do that too. Stay tuned. We're just getting started. Chase, Willie, and D-Mace here on 102.5 The Game.
Want the latest on college football and Nashville sports?
He looks like 1,000 MAC-level quarterbacks I've seen in a college game.
Join Outkick 360's Chad Withrow every Friday at 5 with Stillman and company.
The coaching staff kept him and got rid of the other guys.
He'll bring opinions and charisma for a full half hour every week.
If he's so great in the locker room, then give him a coaching gig.
Chad Withrow is presented by Regal Realty Group on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and The Game Nashville app.
Hey football fans, Patrick Mahomes here, and I'm here to tell you that with NFL Sunday Ticket only on DirecTV, you can watch your favorite team no matter where you live. Because NFL Sunday Ticket gives you every live out-of-market game every Sunday afternoon. So switch to DirecTV and learn how to get the 2022 NFL Sunday Ticket season included at no extra cost. Call 1-800-DirecTV.
With choice package and above, 24-month agreement required. Call for details.
Finishing jobs on time, never being idle, and powerful equipment. Meade has the John Deere excavating equipment and the smart grade technology solutions for you and your business. Power your business with a new, used, or rented excavator and get the performance you expect and service you can rely on. Call us today for the equipment built as tough and reliable as you, or visit us at meadtractor.com. That's meadtractor.com.
Got chronic joint pain but want to avoid steroids and surgery? Take some advice from pro football legend Emmitt Smith. Call QC Kinetics.
Let QC Kinetics help you improve your quality of life with biologic therapies that get your body to repair and restore damaged tissue.
These exciting new regenerative treatments from local medical professionals can help your body heal itself with lasting pain relief.
Trust me, you want to avoid surgery if you can. Check out these biologic treatments to see what your options are.
QC Kinetics, restorative, regenerative solutions with no downtime, no surgery, no drugs.
I'm talking about joint pain we all can relate to in your knees, your shoulders, your hips, and your lower back. They'll get you feeling good again.
Get relief now.
What are you waiting on? Make the call to QC Kinetics. Tell them Emmett Smith sent you.
Call QC Kinetics, 615-249-4024. That's 615-249-4024. 615-249-4024.
Constitution Week, September 17th through 23rd, commemorates the signing of the Constitution of the United States. Did you know that the Constitution does not give the right to have cases heard by a jury of my peers? The Constitution does not have the words separation of church and state anywhere in it. The Constitution neither prohibits nor encourages that the President and the Vice President be from the same party. Study the amendments of the Bill of Rights. Know your Constitution. This announcement was provided by the National Society Daughters of the American Revolution.
Dell Technologies' semi-annual sale has arrived, and it's time to upgrade to the latest business technology. Save big on laptops and desktops with Windows 11 Pro. Plus, get amazing deals on server, storage, and cloud solutions, as well as top work accessories, including docks, monitors, and more. Dell Technologies recommends Windows 11 Pro for business. Call a Dell Technologies advisor at 877-ASK-DELL. That's 877-ASK-DELL for special business offers during our semi-annual sale.
I love this show. Never miss a moment of the show.
Okay, all right, okay.
Subscribe to the Chase, Willie, and D-Mace podcast on iTunes, Spotify, and wherever you get your podcasts. This is Chase, Willie, and D-Mace on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and on the Game Nashville app.
Back here on Chase, Willie, and D-Mace, ESPN 102.5 The Game. We can now tell you officially Howard Simon is going to join us up in Buffalo at 1:15. We'll have our trivia question of the day as well during the 1 o'clock hour. That might seem a little far off in your day, but just file that away. We got a good text, too, from Dan. And let's start this off, and then we'll bounce around the league.
Okay.
I want to ask you about a couple of teams that had very, very good or very, very bad performances, and ask the question that we're all trying to figure out for everything. Is it a sign of things to come, or is it just one game, 1 week, don't panic? But here's a good question, because this did happen some. And by the way, text us your questions or call 615-737-1025. If you're like my kids, you would very much prefer to text and not call.
I think all kids are like that now.
I think a lot of people are kind of going that way. Like, well, how about just calling your teacher or your coach?
I'll text them.
Oh, I'm not doing that.
I'll text
him. I'll text him. Yeah. I'm not calling him. What about your uncle? How about just calling your uncle? No, I'm not texting. I'm not calling him. I'll text him. He's your uncle. You can't talk to your uncle.
That's how kids are. That's their love language.
Yeah,
text.
It is. I think one of my kids told me to text them from downstairs. Don't call up to the thing. Just text me. But you're here. We're here in the house. We can talk. No, just text me. I'll come down. I'll come down for dinner. Just text me when it's ready.
Did you text them? Yes.
I was yelling, "Hey, dinner's ready!" Dad, just text me. Oh boy. Well, times change. Now, here's the question from Dan. Lifelong Dolphins fan, have watched most of Ryan Tannehill's career. Truly great athlete, always seems to do the things to help improve as a quarterback. The thing that I've seen as a head-scratcher is Ryan Tannehill has predictable when passing from a defensive line. He has a tendency to stare down his receiver, deliver the pass, and automatically D linemen get their hands up and deflect a lot of passes. Basically, I'm going to paraphrase. It's a long text, but basically – he does get a lot of passes deflected, it seems like. Why do you think that is?
I think it can be and listen, I'm no quarterback guru, but I think it can be, at certain times he delivers the ball a little bit too low. And I mean, staring down the receiver, could give the defensive guy a bead on where you're throwing or what area. Let's just say not necessarily staring down the receiver, but staring down the area. If you have a 2x2 and you're looking just exclusively to the right, now that gives, he doesn't know who you're throwing it to, but that gives the defensive lineman an idea of the area that you may be throwing it to. These defensive guys they're much more savvy now because they're taught if you can't get to the passer, get your hands up, in hopes to bat a ball down. So that's another sort of thing they can add to their strategy. They can add to their repertoire. Listen, if you can't get to the quarterback, throw your hands up.
I do wonder what quarterbacks get the most passes deflected, because that is a sort of an underrated. It's not a sack, but it could end up being something really good. A tip could turn into an interception, that type of thing. So I've never really seen where Tannehill ranks. It does just in my eye test. I felt like that. Remember, there was a couple passes on the 2-minute drill at the end of the game that were deflected.
Yeah.
Right? So, and I think if I remember correctly, I don't know what, it might have been a touchdown pass, but you could see the guy, he almost got it. Like like I'm sure it almost happens a lot in games, but there are also defenses that excel in that too.
Exactly. They're taught to listen, if you can't get to the passer, get your hands up to try to deflect the ball. It happens to just about every quarterback in the NFL. But, yeah, I would like to see the numbers, too, on where Ryan Tannehill ranks in regards to the other quarterbacks in the NFL. Because I would just assume that guys that are, like, a little bit smaller, like Kyler Murray, guys that are in that 6 foot to 6'2" range, I would assume they get more, if they're passing at a higher volume, they get more passes knocked down than, say, a Ryan Tannehill who stands at 6'5", 6'6", or a Tom Brady who stands at the same about 6'5", 6'6". So you would think that guys that are taller with longer arms have balls that are not batted down as much as maybe like a 6'1" quarterback.
Yeah. Speaking of that, a guy that I used to hear that a lot about is Tua, right? And so let's segue into the Dolphins. They had a really nice win against the Patriots, and I think that one's getting a lot of talk around the league. Is okay, have the Dolphins, with the addition of Tyreek Hill, another year under the belt of Jalen Waddle, who had a really good game, are they good enough? I mean, they really did stifle the Patriots, or is it a little bit more the Patriots are the ones that have got the problems here? So what do you make of the Dolphins' impressive win in Week 1?
The Dolphins are a much improved team. They went out and they, acquired one of the, if not the best deep threat in the National Football League in Tyreek Hill. They already had Waddle, who was a 100-catch guy, I believe, last season. They have the tight end. The offensive line is pretty good. Their defense has always been one that sort of hovered around that middle of the pack. One of the better defenses in the National Football League. So now they figured, we have the weapons on offense. We have a defense that is good enough to pretty much not shut a team down, but hold a team to maybe 10, 12, 14 points. So with that being said, and that being the thing with the Dolphins, I think Tua he understands that this is probably it. If he doesn't show that he can command a huddle, if he doesn't show that he can lead a team to victory week in and week out, it's not going to be perfect, but you need that guy that is your leader, the quarterback, to, when things get tough, he needs to rise up. He needs to help elevate other guys as well. He understands that this is the year. He hears all the whispers. Regardless of what one may say, they hear what's being said about them, good or bad. And I think he's taken it upon himself to make sure that, he uses the weapons that he has at his disposal the correct way. he had enough weapons that all he has to do is make the right read. Just don't throw interceptions. Just don't play outside of who you are and what the offense is calling for you to do. And I think the first game of the season, you saw that from him. He played within the offense. Defense played great. So I think moving forward, and listen, I'm not saying that the Dolphins are going to be some juggernaut and they're going to just run through, the AFC. What is that? The AFC Northeast.
Yeah.
AFC East.
Well, none of us when we made our predictions had the Dolphins or the Patriots making it to the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
That was an impressive win. Now, a lot of people have pointed to the Dolphins have actually played well against the Patriots the last several times that they've gone head-to-head down there, especially. So that's a team I'm wondering about because in the AFC, as we know, there's going to be a lot of good teams, and you're wondering who could be emerging that didn't make the playoffs before. So the Dolphins are definitely a team that are looking to make that jump. So far, so good. Now, let's ask about the Colts because here is another team that we feel like is not going to make the playoffs. In our big picture here, for the Titans to do well, we know that the Colts are a very important team. What did you make of their game against Houston, where they were down 20-3, had to rally just to get the game in overtime, then by all rights probably should have won in overtime. They missed a field goal. Now they fired their kicker because of it, and it allowed Houston to sort of escape with the tie. But you can look at that a lot of different ways. Statistically, the Colts gained a lot of yards, but there was a point in time they looked like they were just sleepwalking through the game, and Houston really had them on the ropes.
Yeah, it did. And, I mean, some of it you can probably chalk up to, this is a new quarterback and a new system, still getting familiar with everyone around them. The Colts defense, you can chalk it up to also, guys getting used to one another, guys being out or whatnot. But I think they fall in the same boat as the Tennessee Titans, is that when you play a team that you are much better than, you have to come out as if you're playing the Buffalo Bills or the LA Chargers or the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That's how you have to come out, because if you don't come out that way, you give those teams that you are better than an opportunity to not just stay in the game but win. You give them this sense of, oh, we can do this. And the longer that game went with Houston, now Houston has some, Indy had some mistakes. They had some turnovers. But those are the things you can't do against a team like Houston. If you allow them to get up on you, stay up on you, and figure they have an opportunity to win this game, that bodes well for them, not for you. What you got to do with a team like Houston is the exact same thing that Titans did with the Giants in the first half. Come out, jump on them, be relentless, be fast and physical at what you're doing, be disciplined. That's what the Titans did the first half. Well, Indy didn't do that the first half. They finally picked things up, tied the game, and then unfortunately for them, they walk away with the tie as opposed to a win. But had they come out and did the things necessary, they would have beat Houston because they are a better team than Houston is. Now, you don't know how this game will affect them moving forward, but, you don't want the, last game of the season, and because you had this tie, it's a must-win again for you, meaning the Indianapolis Colts.
If you're going to goof up a game like the Titans did, and the Colts
don't make it
feel
a
like
divisional game.
That's the thing. They got a tie, which is certainly better than a loss. Not as good in a win.
Tie to me is a loss.
I think a tie. You could argue that a tie in a division game is just as costly as a loss in a conference game, a non-conference game. So the Titans lose in the NFC. So let's say there's a batch of teams at 10-7. There's the record in the division is going to be the most important thing. The next tiebreaker is the record in the conference. So
or common opponent.
It's not good that they goofed up and lost to a team that's not on paper very good. But if you're going to do it, it's better to do it against a team from the other conference and not especially a team in your division. So you got that going for you. When we come back, we've got a couple of text questions for D-Mace on our text line, 615-737-1025. We're bouncing around the NFL. We're going to talk about some receiver play as well. Some of the questions have to do with receivers, and I've got a couple other ones. Later in the show, we're going to break down Derrick Henry's performance in Week 1. What do some of the websites that do the statistical analysis, what are they saying about his first game? That's all coming up around the corner. 615-737-1025. Call or text, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. This is Chase, Willie, and D-Mace on 102.5 The Game.
This is Phil Tomasino, and this is Smashville.
Cousins put it in front of the score. Tomasino lofts it in. 2-0 Nashville.
This is the flagship of the Nashville Predators Radio Network, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
At Cordell & Cordell, we focus on representing men in domestic relations cases.
Attorney CPA Joe Cordell.
We recognize that our clients are going through perhaps the toughest time they will ever go through. We understand that everything that's important to them is on the table. Their assets, the role in their children's lives. That's an immense responsibility that our clients entrust us with, and we take that very seriously. We've been trained to do that. We've helped thousands of clients before. And it's our hope that you'll choose to entrust us with what's most important to you.
The attorneys at Cordell & Cordell work to help men maximize their role in their children's lives. Contact the domestic litigation firm of Cordell & Cordell to schedule an appointment with one of our firm's Nashville area attorneys, a partner men can count on. 615-457-8700. Online at CordellCordell.com. That's CordellCordell.com. Offices in Nashville, Franklin, Murfreesboro, and Gallatin. Cordell & Cordell, 810 Crescent Center Drive, Suite 160, Franklin, Tennessee, 37067.
Hi, this is Trisha Yearwood. The Country Music Hall of Fame and Museum is committed to preserving our musical history and sharing its cultural significance. We invite you to join us in honoring thy music and supporting our mission by becoming a museum member. Membership is your key to accessing a world-class nonprofit arts organization here, locally, minutes from your home. Become a member today by visiting countrymusichofoffame.org/membership.
The Parker Store at 1909 Nolensville Road in Nashville is the Parker Factory Authorized Store for your Parker hydraulic, pneumatic, water, and chemical hose needs. They stock metric tubing and hose connections to 42 millimeters in size, and they'll fabricate while you wait up to 6,000 PSI hydraulic hoses in a 2-inch size. Call the Parker Store at 615-248-8245 for all the Parker requirements you have. The Parker Store, 1909 Nolensville Road.
Are you getting hit hard with higher costs and higher interest rates? Is your credit card rate going up every month? Hey, Willie Donick, how'd you like to wipe out those credit cards before the holidays? Call Loan Pronto. Your home equity can rescue you right now. Your home's value is still way up, and there's a ton of cash that you can get. Loan Pronto specializes in zero-cost cash-out home refis. Get tens of thousands in as little as 2 weeks. Pay off credit cards and consolidate everything into one super low payment. People who do this usually cut around $800 from their monthly budget. And even if your home mortgage rate goes up a little bit, it's offset by your credit card rate going to zero. When rates come back down, Loan Pronto will refinance you again for free. Call Loan Pronto. Do it now. You can even skip your next 2 house payments altogether. Call 615-499-5780 or go to loanpronto.com. That's 615-499-5780. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781, subject to lender approval.
Join us for the Thursday edition of Robbie and Rex Road. We'll be joined by Jared Stillman at 7 o'clock to look ahead to the Titans and the Bills. Big Monday night matchup coming up in Buffalo. It all starts at 6 o'clock. Robbie and Rex Road, 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
Hey, Nashville, this is Eli Gold, voice of the Alabama Crimson Tide, and you're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5, The Game.
Chase, Willie, and D-Mace coming your way here on this Wednesday morning. You can get involved with us by texting 615-737-1025. You got a question, fire away. Got one for you here. Derek from Ben. We talk about some receivers during this segment here. We're going to give you some of the grades that the receivers for the Titans and around the league had. Mr. Mason, when the receivers have an option route, do they pay attention to what the defensive line is doing at all before the snap, or just the coverage?
No, you're looking at coverage. It's a pre-snap read and then a post-snap read. So you're looking at, depending on how far down the field the option route is, because you can have option routes that are deep ball, whether you take the corner or you take the post. You got option routes which are a little bit shorter, like 5 to 7 yards, which you can, sit versus zone, man to man. You can, either go in or out. So what we're paying attention to when it comes to option routes is what is the coverage pre-snap, and then what are they playing post-snap? Are they playing man? Are they playing zone? There was a situation, I believe, during the game where Ryan was thinking zone. No, that wasn't in the Titan game. That was in the Alabama-Texas game where the quarterback was thinking zone, and he was correct. And the receiver ran it as if it was a man route, and he ran himself out of the hole that was there for a first down, and the ball ended up being behind him. So as a receiver, when you're reading those option routes, you and the quarterback need to be on the same page. Y'all need to be reading the same thing.
Now, how often when you're watching a football game and you see a pass go one way and the receiver went the other, can you tell who's at fault more often than not just by watching? Like if you were to slow it down, look at the coverage, could you say,
I could tell
that's the quarterback, this one is on the receiver?
I could tell who's at fault by once they replay it. I can tell quickly who's at fault. And typically a lot of times it's the receiver not reading, especially if it's a veteran guy. It's typically the receiver reading it wrong, and he's not seeing the whole field, whereas the quarterback is seeing everything. But typically once the players reran on replay, I can tell immediately who was at fault.
All right, we're going to have another question about the technical side of being a receiver here in a minute.
Mm-hmm.
But while we're on the receivers, you've got the grades from Pro Football Focus.
Mm-hmm.
So how did the Titans receivers grade out, and how did that compare to your eye test? Because I'll give you this. You're looking at Pro Football Focus, which basically they grade the film. Football Outsiders, who I look at, they look at the overall efficiency. And what was really interesting about week 1 for the Titans from Football Outsiders is their passing efficiency actually rated very, very well. The rushing efficiency was not good at all. 28th out of 32 teams. Tennessee, I was surprised because the eye test doesn't match this, but Tennessee, by their metrics, was number 1, just ahead of the Chiefs, who of course lit up the scoreboard. How many times? Patrick Mahomes, I think, had 5 touchdown passes. So the Titans didn't have that, but from an efficiency standpoint, based on context and everything, they came out with some very good grades passing the football. How did the individual receivers rate?
Not
that good.
Yeah, they were not. I'm looking at here, and I can give you down, from 0 to 9, where, how many times the Titan threw the ball and the yardage, or, from 9 to 15, the completion rate and the yardage they got on there. But you look at Kyle Phillips. He had 9 targets, made 6 catches, 66 yards. He graded out at for offense a 72.
Is that good?
It's a C plus.
So not earth-shattering.
Not earth-shattering.
Steady, but not
steady. But I'm sure Kyle Phillips there were 2 passes that he wish he would have had. They were drops. Wish he would have had back. And both of them were third down passes. Receptions, he ranked at a 72. That's because he only caught 6 out of 9. But beside him, Traylon Burks, he was in the 70s, but he only got 3 targets, and was
it 5 targets, 3 catches?
Yeah, 5 targets, 3 catches. So he didn't get an opportunity to, really showcase what he can do. Now, Robert Woods and Nick Westbrook-Akine, they both ranked in the 50s. They didn't have many opportunities. Nick Westbrook-Akine, I think, had 2 opportunities. He caught one. The other was incomplete. Robert Woods, I think he had 2 opportunities. Ended up catching one for a couple of yards, but that was it. So this offense, from a number standpoint, efficiency standpoint, just the wide receivers.
Yes.
They were not numbers that will consistently win you ball games. If you have numbers that I'm looking at, then Derrick Henry has to be 130, 140, 150. I'm saying yards rush. He must sort of take over the game if you're going to have these numbers with the wide receivers.
And so when you look at the Football Outsiders, why were the Titans so efficient in the passing game by their metrics? And I think we would all say number one is a little bit probably deceiving, but the passes to Dontrell Hilliard, those were the huge plays in the game, the best plays that the Titans had. And, of course, they did have the one pass to Hollister, which probably helped a lot. So the passing game, not bad in terms of that. No interceptions or anything like that. So something's going on, even though you weren't wowed and you still have a lot of questions about Woods, Westbrook-Akine. Can they get the tight ends more involved in the passing game, not named Swaim? There's a lot of room to growth there, but the grades weren't bad in the passing area. Grades were not as good rushing. Another receiving question for you, Derek. Is a hot route affected by which hash mark the team is closer to? Now, I don't know what hash mark Vince Vaughn and those guys were on in Wedding Crashers when he was calling for the hot route, and he got sacked because his receiver didn't get the hot route. But tell me about hot routes.
It depends on the protection. Which way are they sliding the protection? If Ryan Tannehill sees that the linebacker, inside backer or outside backer, is blitzing, he might slide the protection to that side, whether it be left or right. So it really, the hash mark isn't a big thing when it comes to hot routes. It's how do we slide the protection? How is the strength of our protection a built-in or not? When I say a built-in, you can get a linebacker, a will linebacker, weak side or strong side linebacker blitz. It can already be built in. The hot route can already be built in, so you don't have to do no adjustments. The running back picks it up, or the tackle slides over, or he gets help. So you don't have to. We call those built-in hot routes. Now, there may be another time where that blitz come and nobody's there to pick up that man. So now you got to adjust your route, whether you're on the strong side, of the protection or not, or whether you're on the right hash or the left hash. It doesn't matter. If there's no one to account for that guy, then you have to run that hot route, which is sometimes it's a hitch, sometimes it's a quick slant, sometimes it's a smoke. It just depends on what you're calling in that particular moment and what that hot route would be. Again, hot routes are built in sometimes, but then sometimes hot routes, is based on, do we have enough people to block that extra guy? If we don't, then you need to, break off your route.
Generally speaking, is the hot route, does the quarterback throw to the side of the blitzer? In other words, if the guy's blitzing off the left side, am I tending to throw to the left side, or does it really not matter?
Yeah.
This just be something I hear all the time. You throw as a quarterback to the side of the blitzer, like because the blitzer is vacating a space.
Exactly.
So there's more space. Is that likely to be the case, or is not always the case?
Well, it's not always the case, because you can have a zone blitz. You can have that outside guy blitz. And if you throw that hot route, you're throwing right into a zone. You're throwing right into that will backer coming to say if that corner blitz and it's a zone blitz, that will linebacker is running out. So if you throw that slant,
he's filling that spot.
Yeah, he's filling that spot. It acts as if a blitz, but it's not really a blitz. It's just we're replacing one rusher for another. So it may look like a blitz to everybody else that's watching, but I know as a receiver and the quarterback understands it's really not a blitz. It's just replacing one guy. He's just rushing from a different angle. You know, instead of having a wheelbacker rush, that corner or that safety that's coming down, he's rushing, and that wheelbacker's replacing.
The chess game. The chess game is big. When we come back, we're going to talk about some receivers around the league that had the biggest week. Who had the biggest week in the NFL among the wide receivers? Stay tuned. We'll tell you when we come back. This is Chase, Willie, and D. Mace on 102.5 The Game.
Your home for the MTSU Blue Raiders is 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. Every touchdown.
Yes, touchdown.
Every three.
Free ball, yes, sir.
It all lives here.
Middle Tennessee.
You can also hear the Blue Raiders in the Borough on 97.5, Middle Tennessee Athletics on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
I'm Fox 17 Code Red meteorologist Greg Bobis. Today, starting off cool in the afternoon, takes us back into the middle 80s later today. Low humidity, no chances for rain, and we'll stay on the mainly sunny side, but also warm up near 90 degrees into the weekend.
Brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Hi guys, it's Andrew. Are you struggling with erectile dysfunction? Did you know that a major medical breakthrough has just arrived? Today, Wednesday, September 14th, we're running a one-day special you won't want to miss out on. Hillside Medical Clinic uses the most powerful form of wave therapy. This is a technology clinically shown to repair blood vessels and improve blood flow. It's backed by 60 clinical studies, including from Cambridge. If you're ready to regain that spark in the bedroom, today is your day. Call us now and you'll qualify for the assessment and ultrasound totally free. Also a gift that can produce powerful results in the bedroom in minutes. That's worth the trip alone, guys, trust me. And today only, we're offering 6 tune-up treatments to our patients free, worth $1,000. Call today, and it's all no charge. 615-576-5000. That's 615-576-5000. Guys, put a stop to your erectile dysfunction and get your love life back. Call Hillside Medical Clinic now to qualify. This offer ends today. 615-576-5000.
Harman Energy is now hiring drivers for their Nashville team. Harman Energy is Tennessee's petroleum solution for major industries. Right now, they're offering competitive compensation. Fuel tank wagon drivers start at $26 an hour. Fuel transport drivers, $29 an hour. Plus, there's a $4,000 sign-on bonus for CDL drivers. Top quality benefits and a great place to work, Harman Energy employees provide totally outrageous customer service. Come be an employee owner with the Harman team. Apply now at HarmanEnergy.com.
Finishing jobs on time, never being idle, and powerful equipment. Meade has the John Deere excavating equipment and the smart grade technology solutions for you and your business. Power your business with a new, used, or rented excavator and get the performance you expect and service you can rely on. Call us today for the equipment built as tough and reliable as you, or visit us at meadtractor.com. That's meadtractor.com.
Traveling, volunteering, spending time with family. What's your retirement look like? With income planning from Fidelity Wealth Management, a dedicated advisor can help you grow and protect your wealth. They'll look at your full financial picture and help you create a flexible strategy that considers things like market conditions and healthcare expenses, so you can stop worrying about the future and enjoy whatever comes next. Visit fidelity.com/income planning. Investment minimums apply. Fidelity Brokerage Services, member NYSE, SIPC.
Listen to Stillman & Company with me, Caroline Fenton, all season long on ESPN 102.5 The Game for your chance to win Nashville Sounds tickets courtesy of 312 Pizza Company in Germantown.
Robbie Stanley.
They get a lead in that game and just totally close the door.
Joe Rexroad.
If he plays next year, it's disastrous.
Robbie and Rexroad. Mornings from 6 to 10 on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
I'm ready to step this up a notch.
You're listening to Chase, Willie, and D-Mace on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
We continue with hour number 1. Chase, Willie, and D-Mace. ESPN 102.5 The Game. Willie Donick, Derek Mason here with you. Call or text us 615-737-1450. 1025. Who was the most efficient wide receiver in the NFL in week number 1? According to Football Outsiders, it was Justin Jefferson of the Vikings. He had a huge game. And on top of that, the Vikings had a great win over Green Bay. And that's what everybody's sort of asking, D-Mace, is, again, we asked the question beforehand. We sort of gave ourselves a chance. We goaded each other, and none of us picked against the Packers to win that division. But the Vikings just went in there and thumped them in the first week. Kirk Cousins looked good. Jefferson is a talent, as we know. How encouraged should you be if you're a Vikings fan?
Didn't I pick Minnesota to win the division?
Hold on. Let's take a look.
Did I pick them to go to the playoffs and not win the division?
Oh, wait a minute. Maybe you did. Hold on.
I know I picked them to go to playoffs.
You absolutely did pick them to win the North. What am I thinking?
Come on, Willie.
Okay. Wait a minute. You should have been bringing that to our attention much earlier than Wednesday.
It's just one game though. It's only one game, Willie. But I knew I was not.
You don't even have the Packers making the playoffs.
Yeah, I wasn't sold on Green because they've lost too many weapons on the offensive side of the ball, and their defense is not strong enough to supplement those losses on offense. I don't think it. Anyway. But
what does Jefferson do well? Why is he elite?
Jefferson is a heck of a route runner. He truly is. He's a guy that and what he can do is he can run every route. He can run hitch, he can run a slant, he can run a quick out, the deep end, the 9 route, the post, the corner. And he makes everything, he has his own way of making those specific routes look the same at the start. That's key. And he's real good at the line of scrimmage. In this day and age, defensive backs, I believe, are not as much looking to jam and grab and hold you at the line of scrimmage. They're trying to mirror your moves as a wide receiver as you're coming off the ball. And Jefferson, just like Jamar Chase and any other, Cooper Kupp does it so well. Devontae Adams, another guy. These guys do a great job at getting off the line of scrimmage. Working that defensive back, getting that defensive back a little bit off balance, and then getting into their route. And Justin Jefferson, and you saw this in college. You saw this rookie year in the NFL. He just has a knack for getting open, using leverage, knowing where the holes are at in defenses, and then when he has an opportunity to catch the ball, he high points everything. He catches the ball with his hands and tucks it in, gets it in his body fast enough that the defensive back can't make plays. And this is the thing about the elite receivers in this game, is that once you make a few of those tough catches, teams start to back up.
Well, it's interesting you mentioned that because, this must be from somebody. This is Ben saying, why did Jefferson not get covered at all on half of his catches? I guess I'll take his word for it. I didn't
see the game either. But typically, what it is just like Jamar Chase, just like Tyreek Hill. When you show a defense, a coordinator, a player that you can get deep and make explosive plays, they tend to back off a little bit. Teams tend to give you that cushion that you need. If you show you can't get down the field and you have a hard time to get open, then they're more inept to, be up on you closely. Jamar Chase and Jefferson, they've shown, and we're talking about Jefferson really, he's shown the ability to beat you deep and to beat you, in these intermediate routes. So what do? You just got to play honest now. You got to sort of sit in that sweet spot, 6 yards off the ball, 7 yards off the ball, and react from there. And like I said, he does such a great job that when you're playing off coverage, everything looks everything looks the same when he comes off the ball. So you don't know if he's running a hitch, slant, quick out, 9, post, or go. You got to play it honest. That's why it seems as if he's open, but they're just playing it honest. You know, if defensive backs don't respect you, they're not going to play it honest. You know?
I want to ask you about one other set of receivers that we just watched. And by the way, Nathaniel Hackett did say yesterday he definitely should have let Russell Wilson go for it on the 4th and 5. But coming out of there, that was one of those games. I think the Broncos probably have a lot of feelings that the Titans had. Hey, we should have won that game. I don't. There was a lot of different ways we could have won. Somehow we didn't win. We've got to move forward. But one thing I was really intrigued with, Javonte Williams, number one, looks very good. But the two receivers that now have Russell Wilson throwing them the ball instead of Drew Lock and the different guys that they've been using, Sutton and Jerry Jeudy. Can those guys, or how much did they impress you some on Monday night? Jeudy made the one unbelievable big play where he took off. Like, he's got that great acceleration. But should we look, I mean, how scary could the Broncos be if they get it all together and don't just goof up the game?
I think they can be, very explosive. Jeudy did have one drop on a crossing route that I know he wished he could have had back, and I think it would have been for a first down. But, other than that, I think Jerry Jeudy played a good game, not a great game, but a good game. Devontae Williams, I mean, he had 12 targets. He caught all but one of them. So
they threw,
but they were
that
short passes. Yeah, they were short passes.
Gosh, I didn't realize there was that many.
They were short passes, but he caught them. He only averaged like 5.9 yards a catch. But he helped set up the 3rd and shorts, or he potentially got first downs. Jerry Jeudy had over 100 yards, but his reception percentage was low. Out of 7 passes, he only caught 4. That's around 50-something%. It needs to be a little bit higher. You look at Cortland Sutton. He had 7 opportunities to catch the ball. He caught 4. Again, he's in that 50-something% range. Those need to go up in order for this receiving core to get much better. And I'm pretty sure they will. But a lot of that depends on, are they throwing from 0 to 9 yards? Or are they throwing from 9 to 16 yards? And just like our listeners, and know that when you throw the further down the field you throw the ball, the percentages go down in regards to completions. So when you got an opportunity to make those completions, short to intermediate, you got to capitalize on them.
Russell Wilson and the passing attack overall graded very well for Denver. So this is one, to me, to watch. Is they've obviously put a lot of money behind. They believe that Russell Wilson, over the long haul, is going to take them from being a below-average team to above average because they feel confident in the weapons they have around him. And you could see it there had they not just goofed up. And how about Nathaniel Hackett? In your first game, you make that decision, and then you have to come back and say, I goofed up. I think that's a good move there. I'm hoping that, I'd be hoping if I were him, that just coming clean and saying, look, I screwed it up.
Yeah, you might as well.
Now, I hope you don't have everybody losing confidence in you, though, for that game management. So
I don't think
rookie mistake in your first game.
I think they chalk it up as being a rookie head coach. I mean, Vrabel has had some of those faux pas as well during games. And,
I do think his first year, there were a lot of things that we ended up questioning. Game management challenges, maybe over-exuberant challenges, things like that. I do think it's hard as a first-year coach when you haven't done it before.
To kind of gauge it. Because you want to be – you've learned from a lot of people, but you want to be your own coach, And Vrabel had, like I said, he had some faux pas at the beginning, but he straightened all those up, and you don't see them from him at the rate you saw his first year. Getting back to the passes and the yardage, let's go to the Tennessee Titans because there's just a interesting stat or number that we can talk about here, and we can get on.
Yeah, let's come back to
it.
We'll come back to it, and then also during this next hour, we're going to turn our attention to Derrick Henry and give you some of the numbers we've come up with on how do you grade his first performance. It's a little bit eye-opening, let's say. And Derrick's has got the breakdown of what direction they ran, how they tried to utilize him. We've got a lot coming here. Keep the questions coming. By the way, Viking Matt texted and said he also predicted the Vikings to win the division, besides you.
Same. Hey, his name is Viking Matt.
Matt, we're not surprised that you picked the Vikings to win the division. Good stuff, though. All right, we're coming back with hour number 2 next.
You watch the game.
39, pocket trembling, down he goes. Hit on the play by Landry.
We talk the game.
Harold Landry? Boy, you sure should pay him, right?
We are the game. Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Nothing makes one feel better than the ability to give to someone in need. You have the power to give the most important gift of all, the gift of life, with a donation of your blood. Supplies are desperately low in our area, and your help is needed. Blood Assurance is a nonprofit community blood center that supplies our Middle Tennessee area hospitals. Please find it in your heart to donate. Be someone's hero today. Go to bloodassurance.org to find a location or blood drive near you. That's bloodassurance.org. Give blood, give local, save lives with Blood Assurance.
The Nashville Sheriff is hiring correctional officers. Earn $52,500 after paid training and probation. Positions are available immediately. You must be 21 and over with a high school diploma or GED. Come, join our family. That's $52,500 with great benefits. Apply now at sheriff.nashville.gov/apply or call 615-862-8170. Earn $52,500. Stop searching. Apply now. The Nashville Sheriff.
Are you looking for Tennessee-grown and crafted THC, CBD, Delta 8, Delta 9 products? Then float on over to ounceofhope.com. On top of the widest selection of luxury edibles and smokables, their customer service team is high quality and prepared to help select the right cannabis product for your needs. Their knowledgeable team will have you flying high with a smile. That's ounceofhope.com, made locally in Memphis. Ounce of Hope is Memphis Flyers' best cannabis shop 2 years in a row. Legal THC delivered to your door. ounceofhope.com.
Hey, it's Chase McCabe, and every season is screwball season in my house. No matter the time of year, that rich, smooth taste just hits the spot. Y'all know Screwball. It's made with real whiskey, peanuts, and peanut butter, and it's just flat out delicious. It's my favorite. However you take it, as a shot, in an espresso martini, or a peanut butter old-fashioned, make it a Screwball peanut butter whiskey. Enjoy responsibly. Copyright 2022 Screwball Spirits, LLC, San Diego, California. Whiskey with natural flavors, 35% alcohol by volume.
Houston Clinic Orthopedics wants to thank their patients for voting them the #1 orthopedic practice in the Nashville Scene Poll for 3 years in a row. Their physicians specialize in spine, joint replacement, knee, hip, upper extremity, and other orthopedic conditions. At Houston Clinic Orthopedics, they adhere to all CDC guidelines for the patient's and staff safety. To experience world-class orthopedic care and see a list of all physicians, visit their website at tn.houston.com and book your appointment online today.
From the Hillside Medical Game Studios, WPRT FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne.
Robbie and Rex Road, Chase, Willie, and D-Mace.
Stillman and Company. Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3.
Terang, it's a high fly ball.
We got pass rushers.
Awesome Game 7.
Checkered flag in the air.
The Game.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Now let's see if we can bring them to life, all right?
Bringing you entertainment and informative sports talk during your workday.
Smart, funny, classy, and I like him a lot.
This is Chase, Willie, and D-Mace with Chase McCabe, Willie Donick,
Mason, touchdown, Tennessee,
and former NFL wide receiver Derrick Mason on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game, and on the Game Nashville app.
This is a new level of geek you got going on here.
Hour number 2, Chase, Willie, and D-Mace. The suit, Chase McCabe, unavailable today. Doing suit stuff. We miss him. He'll be back tomorrow. Willie and D-Mace carrying you forward. We've got Jonathan Hutton coming up at noon. We'll talk to him. We'll go to Buffalo during the 1 o'clock hour. We'll have our trivia question of the day. But in the meantime, we're breaking down some of the things as some of the advanced metrics and grades come out on week 1. And it is only one game. We do have to keep that in mind, that your stats can change completely with a different performance in week 2. And even then, it's only 2. So sample size is small. But it is intriguing, I think, to take a look at some of the sneak peeks, and we'll see where it goes from here. But, Derek, you had a little carryover. Before we get into what Derrick Henry did in week 1 and what we can take from that, one other note on the Titans receivers as a group.
I was looking at because I always like to see when it comes to completion percentages and everything else, I like to see, well, where was the ball thrown? Was it thrown that short, short, or that intermediate, or that or deep down the field? Because, like I said, typically, as you throw the ball deeper down the field, then the likelihood of you completing passes goes down tremendously. Let's just say Kyle Phillips, for instance, because I have all the numbers, but let's just take one guy, Kyle Phillips. From 20 plus, he was 1 for 1. He had the 21-yarder. So
that was the last one.
Yeah,
that was the one that got him down into the field goal area.
Exactly. And
that's encouraging.
And that's really encouraging. Now they had another one to Traylon Burks, but it was an incomplete pass.
Which I think would be the one that we thought might have been pass interference.
Well, they had two. The one that was pass interference, and then the one that
towards the end zone.
Yeah, he seemed like he stopped running.
Yeah. You were talking about that on Monday.
Yeah, that's the play I thought he should have hit Nick Westbrook-Akina coming across the middle, and that could have potentially been a touchdown. The one Traylon Burks trips, if we slow it up, there could have potentially been a pass interference, but when it's in real time, it's bang, bang, and you can't review a potential pass interference. So for Kyle Phillips, he had the 20-yarder. But then from 10 to 20, he was 1 for 1. And he had 20 yards. I believe that's what it was. Now, as you get further down, from 0 to 10, now the numbers on the left side, he was 3 to 3. In the middle of the field, he, was targeted 3 times. He only caught 1 pass for 5 yards. To the right side of the field, he, there was 1 pass attempt, but no catches. So it seems as if for Kyle Phillips, the left side of the field is his side. He had a deep pass to the left side of the field, which was toward the end of the game. Then he, during the game from 0 to 10, all but one of his completions was to the left side of the field. He was 3 for 3. Now, where he missed that was middle of the field at that same, yardage in between 0 and 10. He was 1 for 3. Again, he had a drop pass. Actually was 2 drop passes he had, and then he ultimately ended up catching 1. So what I'm seeing here with this team, from 0 to 19 to 20 yards, it was 5 completions. 6 attempts, 5 completions for 84 yards. From 0 to 9 yards, there were 14 targets, 9 receptions for 64 yards. It goes into the theory of the further down the field, the less likely the completion occurs.
Right, especially the way defenses are playing.
Especially. So this Titan team, they are a good, 0 to 9 passing team. They're good in that area. Where they need to improve is obviously as they start getting down the middle of the, or start getting down further down the field.
It's so
and they need to take more shots, because if you don't take shots in the game, defenses are scouting you. And if you are a team that is not known for taking chances down the field, then everybody's going to sit on what you're doing from 0 to 9 and from 10 to 19 yards.
And that's something I'm really curious about, the way the Bills play, because the Bills are not an aggressive defense. We saw it on display when they dismantled the Rams. They give you that underneath stuff, and they're quick. They make the tackles. They don't let you run after the catch. If you can move 10 yards at a time, then they'll tip their hat to you, but they don't tend to blitz a whole lot. So I'm curious how the passing game looks against that type of defense as opposed to the Wink Martindale defense that is a little more exotic, a little more blitzing. But, if you'd have told me, Derek, that they would have a 21-yard catch, a 31-yard catch, that's Hilliard, 27 to Burks, 22 to Hollister, that's a fair amount of passes down the field. And overall, 266 yards, 9 different players caught a pass. There's a lot that you, on paper, on the surface, you'd like about that. But that's why we look at grades like
yes,
this.
because they didn't start the Hilliard catch, the Burks catch. Didn't start. They didn't catch the ball
way down the field.
They caught the ball in between that 0 to 9 or 10 yards,
right?
And then they were able to run like Hilliard. His
41 of his 61 yards were yards after the catch.
Absolutely. So the Titans, and that comes with scheme. I'm scheming you open to whereas you're going to catch it, at 9, 10 yards, but the way the play is designed, you're going to be able to get yards after the catch because we're hitting you in the zone holes or we're throwing you away from man defense and throwing you open.
Yes, and that will be something that the Bills will try to contain, that yards after the catch. They did get a fair amount, 103 yards after the catch out of the 266. So we'll turn our attention in the next segment to Derrick Henry. Henry's first game, he had 21 carries for 82 yards. But let's break it down a little bit further when we come back. Stay tuned. You're listening to Chase Twilly and D-Mace here on 102.5 The Game. And D-Mace, you've got a word?
Yes, I do. From my good people at BetUS.
Oh,
people,
yes.
The games are slow. Actually, we got a game tomorrow. So if you want to get your bets in, you know where to go. BetUS.com, which is your favorite sport book out there. It's back for its 28th year of NFL action with the industry's biggest sign-up bonus of up to 200%. Yep, you guessed it. I know you're about to say it. BetUS offers their members the opportunity to cash in on all your favorite leagues, including Major League Baseball, the National Basketball Association, and the National Football League, and more. They've also got hundreds of new casino games, including the coolest European slots, and their live dealers are there waiting for you at the tables. You need a sport book with integrity and longevity. You need to know that you're going to get paid. So you know what you need to do? Go to BetUS.com. You need a sport book that offers everything, including live betting, MMA, golf, horse racing, esports, and all kinds of crazy bets. Call today at 1-800-79-BET-US. That's 1-800-79-BET-US, and they will walk you through setting up an account. Nobody, and I repeat, nobody in the industry gives better bonuses than BetUS. Join now and mention, again, the best radio station out there, 102.5, and you can get up to 200% in bonuses on your very first deposit. Nobody beats that. Head to BetUS.com and join today. That's BetUS, where the games begin.
Let's put the green flag in the air and turn them loose. Nashville's home for NASCAR.
He's going to try to make a big move here.
It's brought to you by the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway. We are your racing station.
ESPN
102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And the Game Nashville app.
Business owners and professionals face special challenges in divorce court. In addition to everything else going on, they have to contend with allegations that they are earning more than they are, coupled with claims on their business or practice itself.
Attorney CPA Joe Cordell.
An effective defense often hinges on sophisticated strategies relating to income tax projections, business valuations, spousal support claims. Clients with assets depend on their divorce lawyer's skills in these matters, and that's why it's so important to hire someone that has those skills.
Contact the domestic litigation firm of Cordell & Cordell to schedule an appointment with one of our firm's Nashville area attorneys, a partner men can count on. 615-457-8700. Online at CordellCordell.com. That's CordellCordell.com. Offices in Nashville, Franklin, Murfreesboro, and Gallatin. Cordell & Cordell, 810 Crescent Center Drive, Suite 160, Franklin, Tennessee, 37067.
Bob's Steak and Chop House is a renowned award-winning steakhouse in major cities across the U.S. Nashville is lucky to have a location here in downtown at the Omni Nashville Hotel. Fine dining is brought to a new level at Bob's with awards like the Wine Spectator Award 4 years in a row, TripAdvisor Certificate of Excellence 5 years in a row, and Open Tables Diner's Choice Award 6 years in a row. Fine dining at its best. Bob's Steak and Chop House, open Wednesday through Saturday, 5 to 10 p.m. in the Omni Nashville Hotel. Complimentary valet parking is always available.
National Playmakers Academy with former Vols Buck Fitzgerald and James Stone, along with former Austin Peay Governor Vic Wright, offer one of the best football developmental organizations in the nation. MPA has over 30 NFL alumni, 800-plus college football scholarship signees, and 25 high school football All-Americans. If you have a student athlete in middle school or high school that is looking for the best football training and college football recruiting help around, contact National Playmakers Academy today, 615-456-2680, or email april.mpafootball@gmail.com.
Finishing jobs on time, never being idle, and powerful equipment. Meade has the John Deere excavating equipment and the smart grade technology solutions for you and your business. Power your business with a new, used, or rented excavator and get the performance you expect and service you can rely on. Call us today for the equipment built as tough and reliable as you, or visit us at meadtractor.com. That's meadtractor.com.
It's on. It's happening. Remember, you can watch us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Twitter.
Get out of the way. I'm watching the game.
Presented by the law offices of Amanda Gentry. This is Chase, Willie, and D-Mace on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game, and on the Game Nashville app.
Back here on Chase, Willie, and D-Mace, 102.5 The Game. Tune into College Football Game of the Week on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. Saturday, it'll be Georgia taking on South Carolina at 11 a.m. The College Football Game of the Week is brought to you by Twin Peaks, home of 29-degree drafts and wall-to-wall sports. So the Bulldogs and the Gamecocks at 11 a.m. right here on The Game. Willie and D-Mace talking football here with you. Now let's get to the king. Derrick Henry, so much wrapped around his success to the Titans. Now, I've always felt, Derrick, that Football Outsiders undervalues him. They have their numbers. They have the way they track things with efficiency, but we have the right to disagree, right? Everybody has to interpret these numbers and ask themselves, is this really what we're seeing out here? But it is a little troubling. He did trend down some last year in Football Outsiders, even before he got hurt. His efficiency was down. In Week 1, he had the 21 carries for
80 yards,
3.9 yards per carry. Now, it's not bad, 80 yards, but there were 7 running backs that had 20 or more rushes in games in Week 1. Would you believe that the most efficient, according to Football Outsiders, the guy that had the best success was Cordero Patterson, who had over 20. I mean, could you imagine a game a few years ago where he would have 22 runs in a game?
Damn.
They went all in on the Cordero Patterson as basically a running back. I mean, that's Deebo Samuel plus right there.
Yeah, he's no longer a receiver.
Yeah, I mean, he had a great game against the Saints. They almost pulled it out. Jonathan Taylor had a really good game. He had 31 rushes, 161 yards. The yards were there for the Colts. It's just bizarre how that game went. But of the 7 running backs, Derrick Henry ranked 6th of the 7. And according to the value over average, that's the main stat, Derrick Henry was 25% below average in the game. Now, how do they do that? They take a look at your runs. If it's 1st and 10, which there were a lot of 1st and 10s where he ran, as we broke it down. I mean, a ton of 1st and 10. So maybe it was a little too predictable. But to have a successful run on 1st and 10, you need at least 4 yards. You put your team in a better position to move the chains. If it's second, like
anything 3 and plus, I think it's a
it's arbitrary. But it's how they
7.
Right? Are you
6.
tracking towards a first down? Is it a productive play? That's like a catch on 3rd and 10 that goes for 9 yards. It's 9 yards, but you didn't get the first down, so it's not a successful play. So, in the context of their metrics, Derrick Henry did not grade very well at all. It is only one game. So let's not overreact to it. But you also looked at the Pro Football Focus and its grades there and where the Titans decided to run the ball. I think this is the most intriguing part.
Yeah, because if you look at their runs, and we just assume that because Taylor Lewan is to your left, that they're going to run to the left side. But you gotta
which I believe they did a lot last year when Roger Saffold was
now
their
you
left
got
guard.
Brewer in place of Roger Saffold. Now, do the Titans still run more efficiently to that side, or are they saying, okay, maybe we need to go to the other side because on the other side we have Ben Jones and Nate Davis, but we do have a rookie in Nicholas Petit-Frere. So based on the numbers, they were more efficient when they ran toward Ben Jones, Nate Davis, and Nicholas Petit-Frere.
So they ran the ball to the right.
Yeah, when they
lot
run
better
the ball,
than the left.
exactly. When you run the ball to the middle and right, they ran the ball, say, from the middle line. This is how they got it broke down. They got it LE, LT, LG, ML, MR, RG, RT, RE, which is left and right and middle. So ML, middle of the line of scrimmage, which puts you in between Brewer and the center. Well, they rushed the ball twice for 12 yards. But when they got to the right guard, which is between Nate Davis and Nicholas, they had 5 carries for 29 yards, 5.8 yards per carry, 6 yards per carry when they ran between Nate Davis, when they ran between Brewer and Ben Jones. So the bulk of their yardage and the highest percentage of them getting a positive play is to their right side.
Yeah,
now, will that hold up?
That's the question.
As the season continues to go on, because that tells me that if it continues to hold up, then obviously they believe more in the combination of Ben Jones, Nate Davis, and Nicholas than they do Ben Jones, Brewer, and Taylor Lewan. And it may not have anything to do with Taylor Lewan necessarily. It might have something to do with Brewer and him being a new guy in the fold. So I would love to see and again, we didn't count also the penalties. They don't have in here the 2 runs that he had that were long,
pretty good runs, solid runs.
Exactly. But if they're penalties, they're not counted in this. So they're not going to tell me whether they ran to the right or left.
Yeah, it's thrown out.
Exactly.
And that's just the luck of the draw. But I do think.
But isn't that also he has the plate in the right foot? Does he?
I believe that's correct. Yeah.
If it's in the right foot, then that tells me they have no problem with him running to that side and cutting. Now, people, if you think that he was slowed down or he's hampered by that foot, then you would think that they would run to the left. But they haven't. They feel that foot is okay. He can cut on either one of them. So where are we going to run in regards to our strength? Well, our strength right now is Ben, Nate, and Nicholas. And it may not have to do a lot with Nicholas, but it has to do with the combination of Ben and Nate Jones.
All we can do right now
Nate Davis, excuse me.
Yeah,
blocking.
All we can go by right now is this week, so it's all theory because it could change from week to week, as you said. But what intrigues me are a couple things. Last year, they ran the ball very well to the left because Saffold was such a great run blocker. Can they still do that, or is it now going to be more the bread and butter to run to the right? We'll see if that holds because in week 1, they ran the ball better to the right than they did to the left. The other part is the efficiency. Can they get more successful runs from Derrick Henry because the whole thing of, okay, you heard Robbie and Rexwell were debating it. Did he just look average? If Derrick Henry is average, the Titans probably can't be a really good team. And that was, according to Football Outsiders, below average for one game. You heard Blake Bedingfield, as a scout, say, I'm not sure about the burst yet. I got to see it. He's a slow starter, so I've seen some early season games where he hasn't looked that good, and it all kind of rounds into form. But all of the questions, the whole Max Kellerman thing that we did last week where he kind of shocked everybody. He said Saquon Barkley is going to outplay Derrick Henry on Sunday and throughout the season. Just kind of got everybody's blood flowing a little bit. But you said it. He said, okay, Derrick Henry can answer all the questions with a big performance in week 1. Well, I think we have the same questions after week 1. It's not that he had a bad game, but I think we have the same questions.
Well, I don't have any questions. I don't think I ever had any questions in regards to Derrick Henry, because once he came back for the playoffs and he looked rusty, I felt, okay, what I'm looking at is a guy that's rusty, not a guy that is hampered or is thinking about that foot.
Okay.
I saw a guy that just hadn't played football in 9-10 games. That happens with just about everybody. I'm not worried about Derrick Henry moving forward, okay? If you, again, and I know we can't if you add in the 2, runs that he had that were taken back, he's over 100 yards, and he's averaging over 4 yards a carry. No one's saying anything. He's checking all the boxes. Did he cut in on that foot that we wanted to see? Yep, he did that. Did he have a little burst at times? Yep, he did that. Did he rush over 100 yards? Absolutely. Did he do that? Did he, was the first tackler always tackling him? No. He ran through some people a few times, and he carried some people a few times as well. Will he ever get tackled by one person? Yes, it's the National Football League. It will happen, okay? My thing is, I want to see Derrick Henry in the open field. Once he clears that first wave, I want to see if we still see the old Derrick Henry, the explosive and burst once he's in the open field, that nobody's going to catch him. That's what I want to see. He's answered every other question for me. Now I want to see him in the open field. Can he now outrun people like he did last season before the injury? But, Willie, these are the same questions that we had 4 years ago when everybody was saying, is Derrick Henry the guy?
Yeah.
Is he? And he was a young Derrick Henry without any injuries, and we were having these questions. Well, he proved a lot of people wrong because he exploded.
He sure did.
That tells me that it's the same. I think it's the same Derrick Henry.
Okay.
That's just me.
All right. But this is something we're going to track every week. Remember what the analytics people are saying. He's not breaking as many tackles. He's not getting as many of those explosive runs, or he wasn't even before the injury last year. So it's not fair to pick apart the one game. But you feel like he's still going to be able to break his share of tackles, get into that open field, and now we want to see if he can score. So there's still a couple of levels, but in the first game against a bad team, they didn't get the big game from Derrick Henry. He had enough opportunities to change the game. It's not all him. They got to open the holes, do all those things, but he did not have a great game in week 1.
And people
can't get around it. He dropped the snap on the one wildcat play. I mean, he didn't carry the team like we're so accustomed to.
People, he has 2 individuals that are new to this offensive line, okay? And for many of y'all that don't know, it takes a minute for an offensive line to gel, okay? Nicholas just became the starter, so did Brewer. Taylor, he needs to clean up a few things as well. You just call it how you see it. He needs to play better. If when he starts to play better, and those 2 guys start to gel with Ben and Nate, this offensive line will be better, and then you could truly make an assessment on whether Derrick Henry is back or not. You're making an assessment on Derrick Henry whether he's back or not, but you're not counting the two new guys they have on the offensive line. I don't understand that. Why people ain't looking at that?
Okay, let's look at the offensive line grades when we come back, and we'll even hear from Ben Jones, his thoughts on the running game. But you also have how each lineman graded out. And you're right, it is going to take time. You've got to give a new 5-man unit, when there's a couple new guys, what they are today hopefully will not be what they are in a few weeks. And they'll be up against a really, really tough front on Monday night. So we'll give you how they graded against the Giants. When we come back, we'll hear from Ben Jones. Stay tuned. We've got more coming on Chase, Willie, and D-Mace here on 102.5 The Game.
Every Monday at 6, it's the Eddie George Show live from 6th and Peabody.
When we hit the turf and clock in, we're locked in, and we're committed to our craft.
Each week, the former Titan and current TSU head coach will be joined by Outkick 360's Jonathan Hutton.
Prop to you and your staff, but also to the kids that have bought into everything you're saying.
And special guests to break down the Tigers' latest game and talk all things football. The Eddie George Show, Mondays at 6 on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hi guys, it's Andrew. Are you struggling with erectile dysfunction? Did you know that a major medical breakthrough has just arrived? Today, Wednesday, September 14th, we're running a one-day special you won't want to miss out on. Hillside Medical Clinic uses the most powerful form of wave therapy. This is a technology clinically shown to repair blood vessels and improve blood flow. It's backed by 60 clinical studies, including from Cambridge. If you're ready to regain that spark in the bedroom, today is your day. Call us now and you'll qualify for the assessment and ultrasound totally free. Also a gift that can produce powerful results in the bedroom in minutes. That's worth the trip alone, guys, trust me. And today only, we're offering 6 tune-up treatments to our patients free, worth $1,000. Call today, and it's all no charge. 615-576-5000. That's 615-576-5000. Guys, put a stop to your erectile dysfunction and get your love life back. Call Hillside Medical Clinic now to qualify. This offer ends today. 615-576-5000.
In St. Pete, Clearwater, Florida, every day is a beach day. And with 35 miles of pristine, sugary white sand, it's easy to see why. So let's grab the beach bag, the beach ball, and the boogie board. Let's pack the suits, the sunscreen, and the sunglasses. Take a dip in the emerald green waters of the Gulf. And then take in a breathtaking sunset at the end of the day. So let's make a beeline to the beach. And let's shine. Plan your next getaway at visitstpeteclearwater.com.
Something's hatching at the Nashville Fair. 4 nights, 4 bands, and 4 themes. Come on out to Nashfest 2022, presented by Nashville Soccer Club. Enjoy live music, games, food, and signature drinks. All 4 festivals are free with fair admission. Eat local and drink local, where locals play. Skip the line and buy online at nashfair.fun, a regional fair with an urban flair.
Hey, it's Hutton. Guys, do you need an annual health exam? I recommend going to Low T Center to get your complete health assessment. They will check all of your levels, not just your T level. In most cases, it's completely covered by your health insurance. And if you don't have insurance, it's less than $100 for a full lab panel and an office visit with their medical provider to give you a complete health assessment. Low T Center specializes in men's health, making it quick and easy, even verifying your insurance. Go to lowtcenter.com now to book online. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
It's grillin' and chillin' season, and Hiller is giving away backyard freebies all September. This month, when you upgrade to a new tankless water heater, we'll give you a free Yeti Tundra cooler, or get a free Traeger grill with any new whole home generator. And we're offering special zero-interest financing for up to 48 months on select new HVAC system replacements. Book online at happyhiller.com today. Happy you'll be, or the service is free.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Your home for Hit City is 94.9 The Fan.
Your Nashville Sounds continue their 6-game series against Jacksonville at First Horizon Park.
Swing and a miss, strike 3. Sounds win.
Pre-game at 6:50.
On your home for Sounds baseball, 94.9 The Fan and The Fan app.
Hey Nashville, this is Paul Feinbaum and you're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Hey Ben, I wanted to ask you about the what you thought of the run game blocking on Sunday, and also along those lines, how important will it be to kind of be able to maintain possession against the Bills with the run game?
Yeah, we got to be better in the run game. We got to have some cleaner looks, and
one person there, one person there. We got to be 11 guys. It takes all 11 guys to run the ball in this league. If one guy's not doing his job right on that play, the play is usually dead. So we got to be together as a unit, as a whole offense. Everybody's tied together. And definitely, Bills have explosive offense, good on defense. They've been together for a while. So you know what we have on defense. They're as solid as they come, and we know the more we can control the clock and do all of that, it's better for us.
The veteran center, Ben Jones, here on the show. That was at the press conference earlier. There's no question. You hear Ben Jones. They want to establish that identity as a good running team. It was interesting. The grades were flipped from what you would expect against the Giants. The passing game actually fairly efficient, especially the elite game that they got from Dontrell Hilliard. Overall, their rushing attack, very, very low grades in the first game. We just broke down Derrick Henry. So let's talk about the offensive line. You heard Ben say it. If one guy doesn't do his job, it can screw up the entire play. They've got to get that cohesiveness. It does take some time. They've got some new starters. So we know this is only one game. But I do think people will be interested in hearing the individual grades from Pro Football Focus on each lineman, because Nicholas Petit-Frere actually in his first game graded out very well.
Yes, he did. If you're looking at that side, which I talked about, which is the right side, Ben Jones, Nate Davis, and Nicholas Petit-Frere, Nicholas actually graded out higher than just about everybody, with the exception of, well, that's just in gap plays. But he graded out higher than every offensive lineman they have, that the five starters. Nicholas, the rookie, graded higher than just about everybody. Well, Nate Davis was first, and then Nicholas was second.
So the right side graded out very well.
It lends to what I was saying. Now, Ben Jones didn't block particularly well in run blocking, but Nate Davis and Nicholas did it. Both of them were over 70. Nate Davis was 77, almost an 80. Zone blocking, that's where Ben Jones really struggled at 56%. Now, Nate Davis and Nicholas were in the 70s again. Nate was the highest at 78. Gap blocking, Ben was, again, in the 60s. Nate was 68. And Nicholas, ironically, he was better at 69. So that right side, it lends to what we were talking about, running to that side of the ball. I don't know if it happened by coincidence or the Titans deliberately just said, okay, this is the side of the ball.
And I don't know what they thought on
often or not. Or did they say, look at the defensive line and say, okay, this is the weaker side of their defense, and this is going to be the side we run to, our right, their left. But the rookie and Nate Davis were the two most productive in regards to grade.
And Taylor Lewan did not grade as well.
Taylor Lewan did not grade as well. He was basically a D. He was 60 across the board. Matter of fact, in gap blocking, he was 55. So it wasn't a great day for Taylor Lewan in the run game.
Yeah, and he got banged up in there. He had to leave the game.
When Tannehill fell on his leg, I know they showed a video of him coming back to the sideline and smiling, but he did have to leave the game for an amount of time. And I'm sure it had something to do with what happened earlier in the game when Ryan, fell on his knee.
I also wonder about how Lewan's grade is affected by having Aaron Brewer next to him as opposed to Roger Saffold going forward. Like this, again, it's one game, but when you take a look at the challenge coming up with the Bills, they've got a rotating group of defensive linemen. They've got Von Miller. They come at you. I would imagine that they're looking at that offensive line, and they like their matchup right now. So if the grades weren't good against the Giants, boy, they better get it together because it's only going to be tougher on Monday.
Yeah, it is. They're going to have to find a way to, penetrate this defense. And this defense,
they dominated.
They dominated their first game. This is one of the better defenses in the National Football League last year. I think they were top 3, top 5 defense last year. Then you add Von Miller to the mix. I mean, you take it from being, say, 5, if that's what they were last year, to 1 or 2 this season. So the addition of Von Miller, Daquan Jones is a big fella in the middle. They had Ed Oliver, he's questionable for this game. So they have some big guys in the middle in Ed Oliver and Daquan Jones that sort of stuffs everything up. It will be interesting to see. It will be interesting to see if the Titans still run more and are effective more to the right side of their offensive line than to the left side.
And remember the game last year on the Monday night, one of the biggest wins of the year, the big stop on the quarterback sneak to preserve the win. But Derrick Henry had a magical game against the Bills last year. They're going to be hearing about that a lot up in Buffalo this week, I'm sure.
And then you got big Jordan Phillips, who's 6'6", 320 pounds. Their second-round pick from, I think, last year, the year before. So they got some big horses in the middle.
They do, and one of the things that they were highlighting on the Thursday night game when they dismantled the Rams in L.A. was how they rotate those guys. They move them in. They keep them fresh. So they have a lot of depth there up front. So can they duplicate anything close to the game that Derrick – he did hit the home run last year, but he just was the reason that they won the game. And so this will be a great test to see if that offensive line can come together, handle the defensive front, and can Derrick Henry take advantage if they can get some good blocks there? Can he start doing what they hope he will be able to do? Major, major questions in week 2.
I'm sure they will have a lot of questions. I'm trying to look for the game, last year's game. They played them late in the season. Was it late in the season?
It was no, it was October, I believe. Let's take a look at the game log. I'm trying to see how quick I can get to that Derrick Henry game, but I mean it was a Monday night game. Remember, it was the game under the lights. Taylor Lewan was knocked out of the game at one point. It had a lot of drama back and forth.
Exactly.
But it's not going to be easy to do that again this year.
No, you just and obviously the teams are different. The Titans' offensive line is different, so that may lend to things being somewhat in regards to the outcome.
20 carries for 143 yards for Derrick Henry, and I'm trying to see what the big one was. I know he had a big carry in that game for the touchdown that really changed the game. And I'll pull up the box score here. 34-31. It was one of the great games of the year for sure. But he had a 76-yard run in the second quarter that really got him going. They were down 6-0. They gave up a couple of field goals. And then all of a sudden, boom, they came to life in that one. He ended up with 3 rushing touchdowns in that game. So just domination, MVP kind of stuff. And unfortunately, that was not long before the injury occurred, a couple weeks later.
Yeah.
Because in my mind, that was the height of his season last year. That was when I was thinking this is the most valuable player in the league at that point, Derrick Henry. And everything was clicking there. So can they get some magic going up in Buffalo and get the season going? What a turn of events it would be. You'd feel so much better about things. And they've done it before, right? They have beaten really good teams on the road unexpectedly in the past.
Well, it seems like that's sort of their MO, even though you hate it, that, versus inferior teams, it seems like they play to their competition. And then once they play the Buffaloes of the world, the Kansas Cities of the world, the L.A. Chargers and the L.A. Rams of the world, they usually step their game up. Well, if you want to be a great team and consistently win, not just in the regular season but in the playoffs, you have to have the same mentality and outlook for every team, not just, okay, we're going to play this way versus really good teams, and then we're going to, play this specific way during the teams that are not so good. You can't do that. It's not sustainable.
No, it is not. When we come back, we'll wrap up the second hour. Jonathan Hutton will join us at noon. We'll get a different perspective. Stay tuned. We've got a lot more coming. Don't forget our trivia question coming up during the 1 o'clock hour. It'll be every day during that hour. We'll also go to Buffalo and get some Bills perspective from Howard Simon from WGR at 1:15. Stay tuned. We've got a lot more coming here on Chase, Willie, and D-Mace, 102.5 The Game.
Every Wednesday at noon.
No matter the down and distance and no matter the score, they're going to give him the football.
Outkick 360's Jonathan Hutton joins Chase, Willie, and D-Mace to talk all things Titans and NFL.
I hope that they're not throwing flags simply because the league wants to see more of them.
He's got opinions and insights on the two-tone blue.
They are not as good at wide receiver and the playmaking department.
Catch Hutton every Wednesday at noon. Presented by Blend Bar and Davidoff Cigars on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and The Game Nashville app.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
I'm Fox 17 Code Red meteorologist Greg Bobis. Today, starting off cool in the afternoon, takes us back into the middle 80s later today. Low humidity, no chances for rain, and we'll stay on the mainly sunny side, but also warm up near 90 degrees into the weekend.
Brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Finishing jobs on time, never being idle, and powerful equipment. Meade has the John Deere excavating equipment and the smart grade technology solutions for you and your business. Power your business with a new, used, or rented excavator and get the performance you expect and service you can rely on. Call us today for the equipment built as tough and reliable as you, or visit us at meadtractor.com. That's meadtractor.com.
The two most sought-after, most prestigious names in bridal jewelry come together for one epic event next weekend at Genesis Diamonds.
Tacori and Viraggio, the world's premier designers, will be showing off their entire collections. All the latest designs, many showcased for the first time ever, with up to $5,000 in savings.
Everyone loves Tacori, meticulously crafted by master artisans in their California design studio. Discover the hidden details and exceptional quality that sets Tacori apart. There's always more than meets the eye with Tacori. Come explore the entire Tacori collection, including all new Tacori fine jewelry, earrings, bracelets, eternity bands, pendants, and more.
If you're engagement ring shopping, this is a once-a-year event you can't miss. Other jewelers aren't even allowed to carry these iconic American-made brands.
Also for this event, Genesis is showcasing an expanded selection of GIA-certified diamonds in all shapes and sizes.
Next weekend, September 23rd through 25th, take advantage of special incentives, zero-interest financing, and as much as $5,000 in savings. Only at Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs.
Jared Stillman.
This is a team that the entire city is losing their minds over.
Caroline Fenton.
It's one of the youngest teams in the league. They don't have a single player over the age of 30.
Stillman and Company. Afternoons from 2 to 6.
Presented by TriStar Moving.
On Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN.
102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
I'm ready to step this up a notch.
You're listening to Chase, Willie, and D-Mace on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and on the Game Nashville app.
This song brings back memories here. Is this the doctored version where they changed the words and inserted the names of the Titans guys in there, the Mambo number 5?
It could be.
It was a sensation. We'll never know. This is the instrumental here, but they took this song back in the day for those that are new in town, and they changed the words around, and they had Derek Mason in there, they had Steve and Eddie and Frank and Blaine, and it was pretty clever. Mm-hmm. And that was a song you heard a lot during that run to the Super Bowl in the 99 season. So a little throwback there. We got Dave in Big Rock, who is asking on our text line presented by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. D-Mace, you've played with several different teams, different quarterbacks, great success. Typically, how long does it take to develop chemistry with a new quarterback? And I'm asking in terms of how comfortable do you think Traylon Burks, and how long do you think we start to see a glimpse at his ceiling?
From what I saw, because he wasn't just like everybody else, but he wasn't in as much, and he wasn't given a lot of opportunities. But from the opportunities that I saw, he looked comfortable in what he was doing. Caught the ball well when the ball hit his hands, and He had an opportunity to get the ball up the field once or twice. He's still sort of learning the nuances of being a receiver in the NFL. Like the deep pass, you never stop running because you never know if the ball is going to come in your direction or not. You don't stop running till the play is over, or you see another guy with the ball. And I think I know he let up on that deep pass. Now, would he have caught it? I don't know. But at least you got to give yourself an opportunity to catch the ball. Football is so different now. They don't get the time that they need. And coaches hate, the new collective bargaining agreement because it doesn't give them enough time to do what they love doing, and that is coaching, teaching. Vrabel talks about it all the time, how he enjoys the aspect of teaching guys. That's why he's so hands-on with this ball team. When I was playing, we had the time to develop chemistry in the off season, whether it be on our own or with the team. During camps were longer and more frequent. And obviously we had 2-a-days rather than one practice and potentially a walkthrough. Now you're not afforded all of that time anymore. So you may see some individuals, they start off, like bam, Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, Cooper Kupp. Those guys, they start off fast, but they have already built that chemistry with their quarterback. Well, in Traylon's case, he doesn't have, it's not like he's a second-year player. He doesn't have the time that they used to have where he could have built that rapport. So Burks and Ryan will continue to build this chemistry as the season goes on. It's not. I would hope that if someone asks me this question 6 weeks from now, I can tell you I can see the chemistry building between those two guys. I'm sure that's what the answer would be.
And that is what everybody's question is, because I think there's so much riding on him being not just your everyday average rookie. He needs to be better than average. And if he can get better, if he can build on what he did in game one, that's encouraging. So I think we can all safely say, look, he's shown us enough. Burks has. Mm-hmm. He's not just a guy, right? He looks like he's got something. Mm-hmm. But the question is, how high is the ceiling? That's a really good question, I think, is, I don't think anybody should sit there and go, he's going to be Jamar Chase last year. Mm-hmm. But we've set our bar right at just reasonable, right? If 700-800 yards, make a few big plays here and there. But man, what's the ceiling? Can you, have you seen enough?
The problem is with me answering that question is I didn't watch him much when he was in Arkansas, and he had a big season in Arkansas, but Arkansas wasn't getting much play in Nashville. So, you watch the games that are on, locally. So I didn't get an opportunity to watch like game after game of Arkansas. But from the highlights I've seen, the kid's a good player. And now you get in the NFL, I think eventually, he started off slow, but from the few catches that I saw in preseason to now, I think the young man is a good player. He can play in this league. Now, you just don't, because they draft you in the first round for a reason. You just don't want to be a good player and a guy that can play in the league. You want to be a superstar player.
Yeah.
That's what you want to be.
And the question is how soon?
I don't know if he has it or not. I just hadn't seen enough. But he is, I've seen enough to say he's a good player. Now, where does that take him? If he remains a good player, I don't know.
And if he's a good player, will that be good enough for the Titans to have success?
It can't. Him not alone this year. Being a good player this year. Now, if he had A.J. Brown and then him and he's a good player, okay, we can work with that. We can win with that. But A.J.'s no longer here. So his game as we move forward has to continue to elevate and evolve to whereas he is the number one guy. He is the marquee guy. He is the guy that teams are game planning for.
Right. And so we've gone all around it again today, the big issues for the Titans going forward here. We feel pretty good about the defense, right? Yeah. I mean, feel pretty good. So we've really dissected the offense. We've gone through all of the grades here during the show so far.
But I do have concerns with that secondary still. I still do have concerns because those guys are young, and that youthfulness and undisciplinedness showed up against the Giants. And I'm not saying it was just across the board bad every play, but it showed up in key situations where, had Fulton, played his assignment and technique, then you take away the Shepard pass, long pass, and the Titans win the game.
Yep, the explosive plays were everything. And, of course, the Bills can hurt you with Josh Allen there, so a major, major challenge. But so that's our assessment so far. We're going to talk with Jonathan Hutton from Outkick here coming up at the top of the hour. We'll go to Buffalo during the 1 o'clock hour. Let me also tell you we've got Big Joe Dubin, Elijah Campbell, the great stuff that they're doing on Friday nights for the Apple Collision Center's Game Blitz, brought to you by National Playmakers Academy from 6 to midnight. They'll preview the big games and then take you through the night of high school football around the mid-state. It's the Apple Collision Center's Game Blitz, brought to you by National Playmakers Academy, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. I think they've done a tremendous job with that show. I see on Friday night the scroll, the Twitter, so many people are helping that show out by reporting from the game that they're at. But I also see a lot of people chiming in on listening to that show and really liking what they're hearing. We want that to be the hub for what's going on with your high school football coverage on Friday night. So we want to get you in the habit of flipping over and hearing Joe and Elijah on Friday night, 6 to midnight. They go at it for 6 straight hours, and it does not get dull, I promise you. So when you're driving to your high school game, from your high school game, anywhere in between, make sure you check out the Game Blitz coming up. A couple of notes, Derek, before we turn the page to the noon hour, too. The Predators have they had the big fundraiser. You got a chance to play golf on Monday, as I did, for the Brent Peterson Foundation. Mm-hmm. Last night was the big PD's party. So that was a big success, raised a ton of money for the Predators Foundation and Peterson for Parkinson's. The rookies will be skating today, so training camp is coming up. They announced yesterday that there's going to be a behind-the-scenes special show with the NHL Network. It's going to be called All Access Training Camp Behind the Glass. Now, they're not talking about Cody Glass, but it's a 4-part docuseries that's starting on September the 30th on NHL Network. So they're going to start filming the stuff. So, hey, those of you that like to go to these practices every year, you might even get on TV a little bit here. You might get in there. If you're
might see your mug
hanging out and watching the practices. You never know what might happen here. So it's something that they've done on the channel before, but, it's essentially like the Hard Knocks of the NHL. So the Predators are the team this year. That'll be pretty cool.
Well, that's something that I think the NHL had to do. But just about every other show. I don't know if basketball is doing it.
That's a good question. I haven't seen basketball. Baseball has done some. We know
obviously
now the football has gone to a lot of the college teams try to have gone with that model. NFL now even had the Colts during the season last year, which was new.
Exactly.
So I think it's great. The Predators have had a somewhat version of this years ago, but for training camp, this is the first time that they've done it. I guess this is the third year that this particular series of Behind the Glass has existed there. So players are mic'd up today. So this is all starting today.
Yeah, well, it gives people an in-depth look. And then also it pulls in potentially new viewers and new fans to your team, to the product. And that's what you want. I'm sure that's what hockey wants. It brings in a different demographic of people to your sport. And I'm sure that's what hockey wants. And what better team to do it, with. I understand, Colorado won the championship, but the city of Nashville is one of the hottest cities. So why not do it with the team that has the potential to be really good this year?
It's going to start Friday, September the 30th on NHL Network, and then 3 consecutive Tuesdays, October 4th, the 11th, and then the 18th. So it'll leak into the season. So I'm guessing they'll have some coverage of the first 2 actual games over in Prague against the Sharks, starting on October the 7th and then the 8th in the Global Series. So pretty good stuff. Predators getting a little league coverage around the NHL. So go on out to some of the training camp practices. It's going to be a lot of fun. All right, when we come back, Jonathan Hutton will join us, and we will get his thoughts on what's happening with the Titans. Stay tuned. You're listening to ESPN 102.5 The Game.
You love the game.
Tennessee touchdown! Middle Tennessee gets the score.
We live the game.
Just work on the little things every day.
They think the coaches are just coaches.
We are.
We got pass rushes.
Checkered flag in the air.
Awesome Game 7.
What a stop made by UC Sarah.
The Game. Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
This segment of ESPN 102.5 The Game is brought to you by Train Heating and Cooling Systems. Tested, retested, engineered, and re-engineered to keep up with you. We run together. Visit traininfo.com to find your local independent Train dealer. Traininfo.com. It's hard to stop a train.
About 80% of new home buyers don't shop around for the best mortgage loan. That's a mistake. Hey, Willie Donick here for my friends at Loan Pronto. Not all mortgages are created equal. People who use Loan Pronto, on average, save $3,500 in closing costs. They get a better rate, which saves them thousands more every year. Your banker or agent's go-to lenders are fine people, but don't assume they're giving you the best deal. Call Loan Pronto for a quick second opinion or go to loanpronto.com. I'll bet you they can get you a better loan, lower rate, without all those annoying closing costs. And when rates drop, Loan Pronto will refinance you for free. No closing costs. Call to get pre-approved in minutes. They can even hook you up with a high-performing real estate agent if you need one. So call Loan Pronto, 615-499-5780. Or go to loanpronto.com. That's 615-499-5780. Equal housing lender. NMLS 166-1781. Subject to lender approval. Not all loans apply.
MTSU football is officially back in action inside Floyd Stadium on September 17th. Your Blue Raiders will kick off against the state foe, the TSU Tigers, led by former Tennessee Titan Eddie George, for the 2022 season home opener. Come early and wear your blue because it's going to be a day full of family fun. Be sure to check out the Blue Raider Beer Garden and the Blue Raider Family Fun Zone inside the stadium. Stick around for a post-game fireworks show. To purchase tickets, visit goblueraiders.com/tickets. Middle Tennessee. We are Blue United.
Men, are you asking yourself questions like, why am I gaining fat? Why is my energy or sex drive down and maybe haven't been getting the exercise you need? If you want to get back to the man you used to be, but just don't have that youthful energy, that edge you once had, you very well might have low testosterone. Low T causes all kinds of issues, from a reduced libido, lower drive, and bad sleep patterns to problems with muscle gain, bone density, and more. It may even contribute to erectile dysfunction, and if this sounds like you, it's probably time to get treated for your low T. At the Tennessee Men's Clinic, we've treated thousands of men for low T. We've seen them put on muscle, add to their energy, improve their sex lives, get better sleep, and just feel better. Plus, if you're like most men, you'll see results in only a few weeks. So make an appointment today and experience how testosterone therapy can truly change your life. Your initial appointment is only $99 with results in minutes. Call today, 615-208-9090, or go to TennesseeMen'sClinic.com. Visit our website to learn more, including side effects, treatments, extra. Results vary.
From the Hillside Medical Game Studios, WPRT FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne,
Robbie and Rex Road, Chase, Willie, and D-Mace.
Stillman and Company, Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3.
Terang, it's a high fly ball.
We got pass rushes.
Awesome Game 7.
Checkered flag in the air.
The Game.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Now let's see if we can bring them to life, all right?
Bringing you entertainment and informative sports talk during your workday.
Smart, funny, classy, and I like him a lot.
This is Chase, Willie, and D-Mace with Chase McCabe, Willie Donick,
Mason, touchdown, Tennessee.
and former NFL wide receiver Derek Mason on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game, and on the Game Nashville app.
This is a new level of geek you got going on here.
Moving on to the second half of the show. 12:02. Willie Donick and Derek Mason here with you on Chase Willie and D Mace. The suit has the day off today. A lot of suit duties, but the show rolls. Still getting it done. And it's time to talk to Jonathan Hutton, sponsored by Blend Bar with Davidoff Cigars. Blend Bar with Davidoff Cigars is the go-to spot in Nashville for the best old-fashioned, a nice relaxing cigar, and lots of high-end spirits and wine. Jonathan Hutton, brought to you by Blend Bar with David Cigars. Visit Blend Bar in the heart of downtown Nashville today. Blend Bar with Davidoff Cigars. Luxury redefined. Hut, what's going on?
Gentlemen, good afternoon. I nearly said good morning. Willie, thank you for telling me it was 12:02.
Yep, we just got to the PM. We just got to the PM. I'll tell you what, Hut, it's been there's been plenty to delve into here. We have gone backwards and forwards on it, so we're looking forward to your fresh perspective here. But before we get into the Titans, let me just ask you one quick one about Tennessee here, because they should take care of business this weekend. But based on how they won the game against Pittsburgh, it was a wildly entertaining game. It could have gone either way. So many big events that kept twisting and turning it. But what do you like after 2 weeks?
Well, I like the fact that when Hendon Hooker's not at his best, he's still not turning the football over. That's number one. He was very efficient in that area last year, and I didn't think he was very efficient top to bottom this past weekend against Pitt, but at the same time, they did not give the football to or any extra possessions to Pitt in that game like they did a year ago. So I am impressed by that, because you look across college football and look at some of the turnovers and these offenses. I mean, compare Hendon Hooker to Anthony Richardson last Saturday with Kentucky's defense. I like the leadership qualities of what he's bringing, despite not playing at his best. And you mentioned it right there, Willie. They won a game where they probably would have lost a game like that a year ago. Tight, close quarters. I think they won one close game last year, and Pitt was one of the losses. So I think even when they're not at their best, they're still pretty good because they believe in what they're doing, the system and the coaching. Now they've got to get something in the run game. I think they can work on that this week. And defensively, they're pretty slow. I mean, and that may be an understatement. They have to mask that, I think, by just bringing the horses and taking a hypo offensive approach to the defensive side of the football and just going all out to get to the quarterback.
Yeah, it's setting up to be a pretty entertaining season, because I'm with you. Winning the close games, we talked so much about the Titans and their ability to win close games up until Sunday. And it does – Scott Frost just got fired because they lost so many close games. If they win half of them, he might still at least be the coach. But there's so many games that Tennessee's going to play, at least on paper, in the coming weeks, that on paper could go either way. You got to find a way to do those little things, find ways to win.
Well, and now, the magnitude – this is really the first time – and I don't know if you'll agree. I feel like it's the first time since 2016, if I'm going back, where this Tennessee-Florida game means something to both teams, where Tennessee's not coming in with a loss, and they can really jump Florida and really put Florida to rest after losing to Kentucky and then hypothetically Tennessee. And then it's really a three-team race for the East to get to Atlanta, and you still have Kentucky and Georgia ahead. And meanwhile, Florida stays in the hunt and is thoroughly right there square in the mix with a win over Tennessee in the East. So it's very interesting because I think the roles and the descriptions of the two teams going into this year's matchup is different. It's flip-flopped, and that makes it more entertaining. I can't wait for – I mean, they're already talking about Florida and Knoxville and across the state with some other visits I've been on, and rightfully so. I can't wait for that game. It's going to be juiced and jam-packed. And I think juice is a good word because I think that game gives Tennessee juice for the October stretch that they'll go on.
Well, they're going to be on a big stretch here, as you said, Jonathan, with their win last week. I know they got sort of a cakewalk, as we say, this upcoming week. But after this week, it kicks off the SEC season for them. So they're going to need to be on their A game as they go into SEC play. We're talking with Jonathan Hutton. You can catch him on his airways, 94.9, The Fan, starting at 2 p.m., Outkicks 360. Now, Jonathan, I know you've talked ad nauseum about this past game with the Giants. But we went over the game again today, just some small little particulars. And I found that the Tennessee Titans have chosen to run the ball, at least in this game, more so to Nate Davis in the rookie side than Brewer and Taylor Lewan. And I want to know, do you believe that's just a indictment on Taylor Lewan and his run blocking, or do you think they believe that the strength of their offensive line is with Nate Davis and Ben Jones and then the rookie?
I would go the opposite way in game number one, and I'm sure that's why you're asking the question. The left side was where we were seeing the holding penalties throughout the game. I don't know if that played a factor in their thinking or not. Maybe Henry told them he's more comfortable planting and pushing through on the right. But, I mean, again, I'm just using hypotheticals and throwing out some guesses. It's a great observation, which I don't have the answer to. And, they have to find the answer in the run game first to see anything go offensively. They moved the chains. They didn't move the scoreboard that often in the first half when they had a chance to separate the score. And it starts with Derrick Henry. He's notoriously a slow starter, though, and not just in season. I'm talking week one. He has over the last 4 week one games for Derrick Henry, he has 7 runs of 10 yards or more. That's it in 4 games, 4 week ones. So they've got to pick up the pace there, and I don't know if you guys would point to the lack of preseason games with that or whatever. But this is a recurring theme that I'm sure they knew going into it, and we normally see him get 25 plus, and I think he got 21. I don't know. I think it's too early to read into what side of the line they're running to, and I'm sure also some of that is dictated based on whatever they thought Wink Martindale was going to do on the opposite side. So I would chalk it up to let's sit back and wait and see what happens with the run game and where we see the tendencies. Because if you're picking up on that, you're going a layer or two deeper, which I appreciate, because the surface level tells us it's 1st and 10, they're handing off. That's what Todd Downing does.
Exactly.
I want to see a little mix and match with run and pass on first down, but right now their bell cow and their best player is in the backfield.
And that's why, Jonathan, we wanted to wait as we get into the season more, because this just could have been, hey, listen, Wink Martindale, the strength of his defense is to our left, so let's run away from that, and that's where he typically likes to blitz. Maybe that could have been their thinking, but we want to see more as the season progresses. And if they continue to run to that right side, then that will give us a clearer picture of what they think of their offensive line, I believe. Now, what did you think of that last whole series of the game? More importantly, the pass to Phillips, the big gain to Phillips, and then what happened subsequently after that?
So based on Vrabel's description, they wanted to get to a specific point on the field for the kick, and I think based on the pass to Phillips, there was a little hesitation going on from Tannehill because he knew he got around that mark where I'm sure they told him, hey, this is our line to gain. This is our yard marker. Get there. We're going to get the kick. One timeout left and trying to figure out when to use it and how to get set up. And Vrabel said postgame that the way that they managed that clock at that point was due to the fact that he didn't want to go quarterback sneak or get to a certain hash without spiking it because of a football getting knocked loose or getting kicked around, trying to get it back to the ref, trying to laying on the pile. He wanted nothing to do with that, and he felt like, but Randy Bullock, who had been very good in the preseason and ended the season last year strong, kicking a 45-yarder. Well, after the spike, it's a 47-yard kick. It's from the right hash. It's what Bullock wanted, and he missed it. And it's crazy how the tenor and the mindset changes on one kick, where we have dissected, and I'm all for it, by the way. We've dissected everything to do with that game. And if they make that kick, it's a different outlook on what they overcame and how they got past a tight week one. And we chalk it up to it's a week one performance, and they're off and running. And now it's, man, they've got to avoid 0-2. I don't view it, though, the same way as I view, like, Monday Night Football with what we saw Denver do. Like it's way different because in this day and age, Randy Bullock should step up and make a kick from 47. So I'm not, and I'm all for getting closer, but I'm also not thinking that 47 is any big deal if the kicker says that he's comfortable with the win and all the factors going that direction. I would lean with the kicker, hit it through the uprights, and go home. But hats off to Daboll, though, man. Going for two. He had a bit of a Vrabel mindset whenever Vrabel was a first-time head coach, where he's trying to put the game away as quickly as possible instead of waiting for another scenario to play out. He's going for the win as early in the process. And I don't blame him. They had nothing to lose. That's a great spark for them. It's probably something that the Giants coaching staff prior to him would not have done. And so I'm sure the locker room absolutely loved it. And meanwhile, the Titans, I felt like, got beat by a team that played a better brand of Titans football than they did last weekend. The Giants were better at it with the run game, stopping the run, the whole thing. And both teams were, for the most part, one-dimensional.
When we come back, we'll look ahead to the Bills. We'll get Jonathan Hutton's take on Buffalo. The matchup, remember last year, that classic that they played? What can they take from that? A lot more coming with Jonathan Hutton from Outkick when we come back here on 102.5 The Game.
The Sports Talk doesn't end on Friday. Join Michelle Knezovic every Saturday morning at 9.
I've got my extra large coffee.
As she talks about the big stories of the week.
Predators news, the Tennessee Titans.
And looks ahead to the weekend.
Oh, I'm so excited.
On Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Men, what if I told you that now you are able to get testosterone replacement therapy in the comfort of your own home? No more weekly trips to the doctor's office. We come to you 7 days a week, 12 hours a day. Be seen by a licensed medical professional in the privacy and comfort of your own home or office. You decide. Schedule your appointment today at CoolSpringsMD4Men.com.
This is for the men who never settle, the ones who miss the fairway all day and still pull out the big stick, the type of guys who will always prefer to be behind the grill than in front of the camera, and the men who never let their friends forget about a high school nickname. This is the Lodge mentality. This is Twin Peaks.
Who wants to settle for a single TV? With more TVs, bigger screens, plus our fabulous scenic views, there's more to watch at Twin Peaks.
Lift it, load it, grade it, grind it, move it, haul it, rig it, dig it, Craneworks, Rental Works, yeah! The big dog's got it.
Craneworks, the Southeast leader for crane and equipment rental, is looking for the best in the business to fill positions as qualified operators, truck drivers, and mechanics. Craneworks provides superior customer service and a superior work environment. Start lifting Nashville to new heights and apply today at craneworks.com/careers. That's craneworks.com/careers.
Hey guys, Jeremy here, General Manager at Blend Bar with Davidoff Cigars at 508 Church Street. Blend was voted Best Cigar Lounge in the world in 2017 and the Best Cigar Lounge in the country in 2020. It is the perfect spot to unwind after your workday or at nighttime. We are a trendy, upscale, luxurious bar experience. Visit Blend Bar with Davidoff Cigars at 508 Church Street. Visit us online at blendbarcigar.com. We are luxury redefined.
This view was worth a hike.
Right? And it's a good way to stay on top of my health.
Yes, I'm Cologuard, a prescription colon cancer screening option for people 45 plus at average risk. Have you screened for colon cancer?
Not yet.
Don't wait. It's more treatable when caught in early stages.
Tell me more.
Cologuard is non-invasive and it's used at home. It detects altered DNA in your stool to find 92% of colon cancers.
92%?
Yep, even those in early stages.
This was seen in a clinical study with patients 50 and older. Any positive result should be followed by a diagnostic colonoscopy. False positive and negative results may occur. Cologuard is not a replacement for colonoscopy in high-risk patients. Do not use if you have had adenomas, have inflammatory bowel disease and certain hereditary syndromes, or a personal or family history of colon cancer.
Most insured patients pay $0. Ask your provider or an online prescriber if Cologuard is right for you, or visit Cologuard.com.
I'm in.
At Cromwell Media, we take great pride in the tenure of our team. This month, big shout-outs go to 2 members of our sales team, Jeff Colt for 11 years and Matt Saggio for 6 years. Thanks, guys. Jared Cassidy, a part-time producer for 102.5, 106.3 The Game, has been a teammate for 3 years. Finally, audio engineer Ladarius Robinson and Tina Jackson in our corporate office are celebrating their first anniversaries. Want to be part of our success? Send us a note at together@cromwellmedia.com and tell us about yourself. We could be celebrating you next year.
We want to hear from you.
Thanks for taking the call.
Join the conversation. Call or text at 615-737-1025. Driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. This is Chase, Willie, and D-Mace on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and on the Game Nashville app.
12:18 is our time. Segment number 2 with Jonathan Hutton from Outkick 360. You can hear their show starting at 2 o'clock over on 94.9 The Fan. He joins us each Wednesday at noon. And, of course, he is brought to you by Davidoff Cigars and Blend Bar. So Jonathan Hutton continues on. And, Hut, as we look ahead here, first of all, before we look at Buffalo, I want to get your take on the Colts and the Texans. That was, and really, if you want to throw in a thought on the Jaguars as well. The Jaguars' inability to beat Washington, I thought, was kind of a bummer for them. Like, they had a chance. They did a good job of working their way back into that game, came up short, so they're 0-1. And, of course, somehow the Colts tie the Texans, and that was a really bizarre game. But give me your thoughts, because the Titans, not to say that they got a mulligan here, but they caught a break in that the Colts failed to be able to beat a team that they're supposed to beat.
Yeah, and we've discussed a lot this week, Willie, about an 0-2 start and what it means for any team trying to make the playoffs. But with the 7 seed, and I'm not trying to make it sound easy, with the 7 seed and then the AFC South, where I think you can start 0-2 and still win the division this year. I don't think it's as big of a hill to climb as it normally is, given the circumstances. So I'm with you on that. Jacksonville is better. I'm not sure if that means they're actually knocking off some teams along the way that they're not supposed to, or if they're better, whereas they have the 8th pick in the draft instead of the top pick in the draft again. That would be a gradual improvement for Doug Peterson and what they're doing. I thought, just watching briefly of Jacksonville, then I'll get to Indy. Jacksonville struggled early offensively, and then Trevor Lawrence came to life. James Robinson came to life with a rushing touchdown and a receiving touchdown. They had a really nice drive. It was either before the half or right after the half to Robinson that capped it off to get back in that game. And then give Washington credit, give Carson Wentz credit. They drove down and got a score to Jahan Dotson. One of his 2 touchdowns came with a minute and a half to go, and Washington came back and won that game after holding a lead. And that was the same thing for Houston. Indy had no business winning that game in overtime. I mean, they could have easily with a kick, but even getting a tie in some ways is a victory for what I saw in that first half from them. They were sluggish. They were slow out of the gate. Matt Ryan's dropping snaps. The ball's on the turf behind the line of scrimmage. It looked really bad. It looked like your typical Colts team in week 1. And instead of a loss, they leave with a tie. And that's ultimately what got Pittsburgh in last year as a 7 seed. Indy lost back-to-back games to the Raiders and then the Jags. And because the Steelers tied with the Lions, they had the tiebreaker with the record, and they ultimately got in over Indy. It's kind of a crazy scenario, but I mean the tie does come back to factor in. And Davis Mills also impressed me. His numbers, he's not getting talked about a lot this week, but he looked pretty good for that second-year guy from out of Stanford for Houston in the 3rd round. So I was impressed by him more than anything, and I think the Colts are no – I don't look at them as any better than the Titans, despite what the national media wants to point to.
Yeah, and the Texans, to their credit, they don't look like a hapless, easy out.
No.
So they could be a little bit tougher, especially if Mills continues to play this way.
And they have so I don't know why they didn't use Pierce after talking him up. The rookie running back. I don't know. They didn't use him very, very much. They went with Burkhead, which I know McClain was really upset about. But their 2 defensive backs, Stingley and Petrie, they were great in this game, and they feel a lot like the Titans do in terms of getting some mileage out of their young rookie class. Houston absolutely had to have it, and I think the Titans are doing it as well, especially on offense out of necessity in the receiving corps.
Indianapolis at Jacksonville, which has been a house of horrors for the Colts over the last few years. Very interesting to have that meeting this coming Sunday. So let's turn our attention to Buffalo. Jonathan, I would say that the challenge for the Titans is not only that Buffalo is an elite team and way, way better than the Giants on paper, but especially defensively, a much different kind of scheme than what they saw with Wink Martindale and the Giants. So it's a really different, unique challenge for the Titans offense.
Yeah, and they bolstered their run defense last year. And this year, they've brought in Von Miller. We saw his impact. Everywhere he goes, he impacts the defense. Their pass rush looks much better in week one against the Rams than what we saw last year at times. So, yeah, they've got a very good safety tandem. They drafted Kair Elam, to play corner. Tre'Davious White's banged up. And instead, they're starting, I believe, a sixth-round pick. I forget what college he's out of, but he's kind of like a Kevin Byard for them, where he has all these measurables, but he was not invited to the combine, and they're starting him on defensively. So I think that's one area I would go at, and I'm not saying he's a bad player at all, but if he ran a bit faster, I'm sure he's a high draft pick and goes to the combine. That's my guess. So I would look at that area as one to go at. The problem is I don't know if that's Burks, if that's Woods, if I don't know how you attack him with the personnel that they're using, with the kind of style of offense they're going after. So I'm interested. You mentioned the different scheme defensively, Willie. I'm interested to see if we see some different sets and personnel packages this week compared to what we saw against the Giants out of Todd Downing.
Now, Jonathan, after everyone saw the Thursday night game with Buffalo and how dominant they were, us here locally, we saw how difficult it was for the Tennessee Titans, and ultimately they end up losing the game. What do you? Which one you believe is true, or which one you believe is more in line with the narrative? Is Buffalo that good, or are the Titans a team that not as good as they were last year, and potentially a team that won't make the playoffs? No,
I do think Buffalo is that good. Mm-hmm. So let me put in perspective. Buffalo is turning this into a trend. They have not, D-Mace, they have not punted in 3 of their last 4 regular season games. Think about that.
Yeah, that's unheard of.
Regular season game, so that doesn't even count. Didn't they play a perfect game against the Patriots in the playoffs? That was a perfect game, right? The Bills. They scored every possession, right? I'm going.
You may be right on. They may have punted or kneeled down, or I don't know what they did at the end. But yeah, Willie, you have a photographic memory when it comes to sports and knowledge and the dates here. So I'm gonna go. I'm going by Bill's PR tweeted this out on Sunday or Monday. It's a record going back to when they've actually kept punts in the NFL in like the 1930s. They have not punted in 3 of their last 4 regular season games. So
good grief.
That's unheard of.
Well, we know whether they punted once or not. Like they had an unreal performance against the Patriots. It was lights out, and that was a lot of fun for their fans. And then, of course, even though they lost to the Chiefs, they scored a few touchdowns in that game. I mean, nobody was stopping anybody in that game either.
Well, I think the way that you can't. So I take that to mean like if the Titans are going to go to Buffalo and win, they can't punt that often, and when they do, Stonehouse has to pin them back. So I think, in a weird way, this is where we find out if they made the right call at punter. And I know that's bizarre to say in leading up to a game against the Bills, but they have to make everything difficult on Josh Allen in this offense. They have to make him go the distance, eat up. If they're going to score, eat clock while you're doing it. Now, I think that's critical because that's more of the Titan style right now offensively.
Now, they had troubles, obviously, with stopping the run. Saquon Barkley had over 160 yards. Do you think that was just a one-off, or are you concerned about this run defense?
I'm not hitting the panic button on the run defense. They were good at that last year. I don't view that as an issue that's glaring to me. I was surprised by it. I mean, it's one of those deals where you're not expecting. If you said, hey, the one way to beat the Titans, if you're a Giants fan, is Saquon's got to go off. He's going to rush for 150. I mean, I'm thinking, yeah, he's probably not getting that. But the Titans are going to have to turn it over a few times and all this and that. It was 234, 238 yards total. That's the fourth most. That's only happened 4 times with the Titans here in town. The defense has allowed that many rushing yards. So not just with this defense, we haven't seen that combined in a while. So I think that's against the grain a bit, and I'm not foreseeing that being a big issue with this defense moving forward. Maybe I'm crazy, maybe I'm overlooking it, but I don't. I mean, going into this week, I don't look at it as much as a Bills rushing attack as much as I do just corralling Josh Allen, who is their rushing attack in many ways. So I think we're not going to see the same type of game plan against this Titans defense just because they gave up 150 to Saquon. I don't think they turn around and hand off 20 times in this game to the same back because of that.
Yep, it's a totally different formula for sure. Hut, we're looking forward to it. Thanks a lot for your insights as always. We'll talk to you again next week. Enjoy your show this afternoon.
Yep, thank you guys. Always enjoy this.
Absolutely.
All right, Jonathan Hutton, Outkick 360, joining us as he does every Wednesday at noon. A lot to unpack there about the Bills, everything else. Stay tuned. We've got a lot more coming. We're going to actually go to Buffalo, get some perspective from up there during the 1 o'clock hour. This is Chase, Willie, and D-Mace on 102.5 The Game.
Hey, Preds fans.
Sliding across to make the save is Sarah.
You can now hear Nashville's best sports talk.
The backhander, he scores!
And every Predators game on 106.3 FM.
Oh, that was a thing of beauty.
From downtown Nashville to Rutherford and Williamson counties.
Duchesne with the overtime winner.
Catch all the action on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
Winning this award is truly like winning the Super Bowl of car dealer awards for Mercedes-Benz.
Edwin Vickery, General Manager of Mercedes-Benz of Music City.
Culture eats strategy for lunch. You have to hit on all cylinders to win this award. You can strategize all you want. You got to still have the right tools, and our tools are our people.
Live the dream with 3-time Mercedes-Benz Best of the Best Award winner, Mercedes-Benz of Music City. Go to mbofmc.com.
Football is back, and so are the deals at Electronic Express. Save big on everything you need for the big game from brands like Samsung, GE, Sony, Cuisinart, and more. Electronic Express has huge savings in every department. Computers, appliances, 4K TVs, smart home, furniture, mattresses, and more. Save up to 40% with up to 36 months free financing. Shop in-store or online at electronicexpress.com and get free express delivery on most items. Electronic Express. We make football season happen.
Hey, summer's over, but is that joint pain still there? Well, it's time to do something. Willie Donick here, and I want to tell you about QC Kinetics. You've put it off long enough. It's time to get real lasting relief from chronic pain in your knees, your back, your shoulder, and hips. QC Kinetics can get you moving again with cutting-edge regenerative treatments. No drugs, no downtime, no surgery. Regenerative medicine uses highly concentrated healing properties from your own body, and it restores and repairs the damaged joint tissue. Plus, QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in this exciting breakthrough natural approach to eliminating joint pain. Lots of people here have done this, and they're living life to the fullest pain-free. So don't assume that the old ways of dealing with joint pain are the only ways. Stop putting it off. Call for a free consultation. 615-249-4024. That's 615-249-4024 for QC Kinetics. Once again, 615-249-4024.
The Nashville Sheriff is hiring correctional officers. Earn $52,500 after paid training and probation. Positions are available immediately. You must be 21 and over with a high school diploma or GED. Come join our family. That's $52,500 with great benefits. Apply now at sheriff.nashville.gov/apply or call 615-862-8170. Earn $52,500. Stop searching. Apply now. The Nashville Sheriff.
Finishing jobs on time, never being idle, and powerful equipment. Meade has the John Deere excavating equipment and the smart grade technology solutions for you and your business. Power your business with a new, used, or rented excavator and get the performance you expect and service you can rely on. Call us today for the equipment built as tough and reliable as you, or visit us at meadtractor.com. That's meadtractor.com.
Hey, it's Jared. Join us on Wednesday where we'll break down the latest with the Titans as they turn their attention to Buffalo. That's Stillman and Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Hey, Nashville, this is Penny Hardaway, University of Memphis coach. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Hey, everybody, it's time to make sure you get in the groove with our silly underdog contest. It is back. Play them today. 3 football underdog teams you think will win outright this week for a chance to win great prizes. Played now at thegamenashville.com or the 102.5 The Game app. Silly Underdog Picks is presented by Volunteer Hose and Gasket and Superbook Sports, voted -1 sportsbook in Vegas. Download their app today. So, the Superbook actually will provide the official lines for our on-air contest, of which D. Mace is 2-0. D. Mace looking good in the contest, but the problem is Forever Titan Chris Sanders got one of his patented big ones the other day.
Goodness, I'm almost inclined to take a flyer this week too. I don't know. I'm going to think about it.
You got to stick with your game. Your game is
I know.
working.
Like, my game is to move methodically down the field.
See, Sanders, he may not win another game for 2 months. But if he hits another one in 2 months, he's still going to have a lot of points. He's going to be right there with you guys. But we have some fun with that. That's going to be tomorrow at noon. Every Thursday at noon. George Plaster is back with us now. Chase will make his pick. We've got D. Mace. We've got Chris Sanders. And, of course, the one and only Kelly Holcomb will be joining us as well. Just a quick baseball update before we get back to our football talk. A little change of pace here with you. The Braves-Mets race continues to heat up. The Mets have lost twice in a row at home to the Cubs, and so the Mets lead is down to a half a game over the Braves, who won last night in San Francisco after snapping a 3-game losing streak. The Braves actually lost 3 games in a row. That's a story in and of itself. They seem to never lose. So the Mets with a half-game lead. They've got David Peterson tonight against Drew Smyly, trying to salvage the last game of the series against the lowly Cubs. Meanwhile, the Braves have an afternoon game today out in San Francisco, and it'll be the veteran Charlie Morton going against Carlos Rodon, who is probably the best pitcher that the Giants have. So a little baseball update there for you. And it's going to be a race right down to the wire. Remember, 3 games going on in Atlanta on the final weekend of the regular season. Each team would have 1 series right after that. So towards the end of this month, it is going to be some great drama, Braves and the Mets. So a couple of things, Derek, that we got from our conversation with Jonathan Hutton. He says, and look, I don't mind this take at all. Kickers in the NFL should be hitting about 83% of the kicks. And it's interesting that Randy Bullock last year hit exactly 83%. He made most of the big kicks. So many Titans games came down to a kick. The Titans kicker job the last few years has been a tough job. You got to make big kicks. It's not like you're playing on a juggernaut that blows everybody out. You got to make kicks. So he's got a pretty decent degree of difficulty. He missed from 47. You and I have been really trying to figure out what could have happened, how much easier they could have made his job for that last kick on Sunday when they got the great pass to Phillips They had 18 seconds and a timeout. They dawdled along, didn't get a play in on time, had to burn a timeout, and then move back 3 yards to get the ball on the right hash. So Jonathan Hutton was like, look, let's simplify this. He's got to make a 47-yard kick. I believe that's fine, but every yard matters, and I think it's your responsibility as a team to help your kicker out. Every yard you move in, to me, increases your percentage that he makes that kick. So I think I place a lot of the blame on them ending up wasting a timeout and having to move back 3 yards. And I think that might have been the difference in the game. But where do you put the responsibility there?
Well, the responsibility ultimately lies on the kicker. Bullock has to make that kick. Just like, Taylor Lewan has to step down instead of stepping out. Just like, Fulton have to, keep his eyes on a receiver and not look in the backfield. This is what you are getting paid for. This is why you are a starter on this team, because they feel as if put in these situations, you're going to do your job. I understand the kicker's job is just not him kicking the ball through the uprights. It's to hold, it's to block it in front. But to me, everything was perfect. There was no wind, at least not a lot to affect the kick. The offensive line did a good job at blocking. The snap was perfect. If all three of those phases are perfect, you need to do your job, Bullock, and kick it through the uprights. The only time you get an opportunity to affect the play is when you are out there on that one play. Just that one. The rest of the time, you are on the sideline while the offense is methodically moving down the field. The offense has the hard job at putting you in a position to then kick the field goal. Your job, which is for a kicker, for me it would be hard because I'm not a kicker.
Right.
But for a kicker, that's your job. That's the easy part. Put me in a position. There's no other variables. Everything's good. Put me in a spot, and I'm going to kick it through the uprights. He didn't do that, so he let his team down. So to me, everything lies on Randy Bullock not executing. Again, it goes back to execution, not executing the play the way it's supposed to be executed. Everyone else did except you as the kicker, just like Fulton, just like Taylor Lewan, just like Bud Dupree. If you execute the play the way it's supposed to be, everybody, then it works.
Right, and you're making a good point. The hold was perfect. The snap, the conditions were perfect. Mm-hmm. It's not like it was a muddy field or windy day. So
now you can
maybe
question
83% overall. But remember, okay, so I'm trying to assess. 47 yards is not a chip shot, right? Now, with each passing decade, kickers make a higher percentage of those. Like when we were kids, if a guy hit from 47, you'd be like, hey, it's really good. Hey, like, man, 47. And it was more like maybe 5 or 6 out of 10 from 47. Now it's like you got to hit at least 7 or 8 out of 10 from 47, especially with good conditions. But let's just say it's between 7 and 8. You're going to hit 7 or 8 out of 10 from 47 yards. If you can get that ball 5 yards ahead and it's 42, then I think you're thinking it's at least 8 out of 10. It's between 8 and 9 out of 10. So that's why I think every yard counts. Like 47, like if he missed it from 35 or 38 or even 40, then I think I'm putting a lot more of it. Hey, man, come on, you got to make that. 47, I'm giving the kicker a little bit of slack.
Well, I understand.
Especially when they had an opportunity to move it in a little further.
I understand what you're saying. You're saying, listen, if you have an opportunity to move it forward or keep it status quo right where it's at, then do that. And then, it goes from kicking a 47-yarder to now you're kicking a 44-yarder or 43-yarder.
It would have been 44 had they not done anything.
And, the percentages go up when you move closer to the goalpost. So, but I still believe that Randy Bullock is a good kicker, and 47 yards is completely not out of his range. Now, what I do question is, why did you feel the need to go backwards, that far back to make it an even further kick? Yep. Why didn't you just quarterback sneak it up and over instead of going back and
yards,
over?
Yeah.
Yes, tell the offensive line, come off the ball as if we're running it, get a hat on the hat, be physical, and we're going up to the side, not to the side and back. I don't understand.
I was really mystified
why didn't they do
that?
Because it's still the same premise. We're still going to get on the ball. We're still going to spike it. Quarterback still has the ball in his hand. So, to me, that should be the question. Why did you choose to go back instead of either going down the line or going forward?
Yeah, I was surprised at that. And we didn't get a lot of detail from Coach Vrabel on it. I know they wanted to put the ball on that hash, but there are different ways to do that, right?
Exactly.
Just if you could go forward and still to the right and not lose 3 yards, I would think that's valuable. Or, as you said, you could run a quick hitch possibly, right? Let's say even in theory, first of all, they burned the timeout. If you had the timeout in your pocket, that gives you a chance to do all kinds of plays.
But in that situation,
and end up on the right hash.
Yeah.
But a hitch to the outside, you catch it, go out of bounds. That ball is put on the right hash, right?
Yeah,
and if it's incomplete, worst case scenario, it's incomplete, you throw it away. Then there's 14 seconds. You could try it again, right? You could throw the same thing.
Yeah, I would have, one of the plays would have been, okay, let's run a quick out to the right. If the guy's off, throw it quick, get your head around, throw it quick, get out of bounds. If the guy comes up, throw it out of bounds. We're still at the same yardage. If you throw it out of bounds, that's just like spiking the ball. So, I don't think you lose in a situation like that unless somebody blows through the line, and that's what they didn't want to happen, and somebody just eventually blows through the line and you can't get it off. But to me, I just think, in that situation, 47 yards, 43, 47, 45, Bullock, that's your job. Kick the ball through the uprights, you win the game.
Would have made it a lot simpler for sure. Stay tuned. We're coming back to wrap up hour number 3. Don't forget, during hour number 4, during the 1 o'clock hour, we go to Buffalo. We'll also have our daily trivia question as well. Stay tuned. We're coming back.
Every Wednesday at 2:45.
Sanders for the touchdown, 48 yards.
Former NFL wide receiver Chris Sanders joins Stillman and company to give his thoughts on all things Titans and NFL. Fueled by Parman Energy, now hiring fuel drivers. Apply now at ParmanEnergy.com on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
I'm Fox 17 Code Red meteorologist Greg Bobis today. Starting off cool in the afternoon, takes us back into the middle 80s later today. Low humidity, no chances for rain, and we'll stay on the mainly sunny side, but also warm up near 90 degrees into the weekend.
Brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Hello, I'm Joe Cordell of the domestic litigation firm Cordell & Cordell. Here are a few quick divorce tips that we provide our clients. Number 1, don't move out of your house just because your wife tells you to. Remember, that's your house too. And number 2, don't blow through the financial statements that you file with the court. These are key exhibits, and they often make or break your case. And number 3, watch the social networking. Expect your wife's lawyer to do a thorough online search. And incidentally, this is a two-way street. Now, a bonus tip. Partner with your attorney in assembling evidence. You're one of the 2 leading experts on your life and marriage. Your attorney needs your input to achieve your goals. And finally, talk to your attorney before taking action. Good luck.
Contact Cordell & Cordell to schedule an appointment with one of our firm's Nashville area attorneys, a partner men can count on. Online at CordellCordell.com. Cordell & Cordell, 810 Crescent Center Drive, Suite 160, Franklin, Tennessee, 37067.
Are you getting hit hard with higher costs and higher interest rates? Is your credit card rate going up every month? Hey, Willie Donick, how'd you like to wipe out those credit cards before the holidays? Call Loan Pronto. Your home equity can rescue you right now. Your home's value is still way up, and there's a ton of cash that you can get. Loan Pronto specializes in zero-cost cash-out home refis. Get tens of thousands in as little as 2 weeks. Pay off credit cards and consolidate everything into one super low payment. People who do this usually cut around $800 from their monthly budget. And even if your home mortgage rate goes up a little bit, it's offset by your credit card rate going to zero. When rates come back down, Loan Pronto will refinance you again for free. Call Loan Pronto. Do it now. You can even skip your next 2 house payments altogether. Call 615-499-5780 or go to loanpronto.com. That's 615-499-5780. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval.
Parman Tractor and Equipment is your one-stop tractor and equipment solution and Middle Tennessee's Link Belt and Takeuchi dealer. No matter how you're getting there, start with Parman Tractor and Equipment. Rent or purchase a track loader, mini excavator, large excavators for your job site, or something in between. Their service and parts team will get your work site up and running in no time. Parman Tractor and Equipment will come to you for service if needed. Visit ParmanTractor.com for more info. Your Middle Tennessee Link Belt and Takeuchi dealer, providing totally outrageous customer service.
Robbie Stanley.
To avoid non-contact injuries and not repeat last year,
Joe Rexroad.
just wait until next year's national TV schedule comes out.
Robbie and Rexroad. Mornings from 6 to 10 on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
I'm ready to step this up a notch.
You're listening to Chase, Willie, and D-Mace on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
Hey, don't forget, you can watch us streaming live on Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube, and Facebook Live every day. Our video streaming is brought to you by the law offices of Amanda Gentry. Chase, Willie, and D-Mace here on 102.5 The Game. Willie Donick, Derek Mason. I want to take another thing from our conversation with Jonathan Hutton that I thought was interesting. And I hadn't thought about it until he mentioned it, but you've got a Titans defense that just is not feeling good about how they defended the run. Saquon Barkley had the 2 enormous runs, the big home runs, and they ran the ball reasonably well aside from that in the game. Mike Vrabel was ticked. You could tell that really bugged him. That's just not Titans defense, because they did a lot of other things that were pretty good. They got a good rush on the quarterback. They made a couple of plays, got the interception. They got the sack fumble. But Hutt mentioned this. The Bills, by trade, are really not a running team.
No.
So it's interesting that you're facing something completely different, not just a better team, but a different scheme where really their best runner is Josh Allen. They just don't turn and hand the ball off a whole lot. And, of course, it's been working really well. The Bills have put up incredible offensive numbers going back to the end of last year and during the playoffs, and, of course, very impressive in front of everybody on opening night. So what do you do? Like, if you're Shane Bowen, you're sitting there going, we got to fix the running game, but, hey, we're playing a team that really doesn't run that much.
Well, you still got to fix the running game. I mean, just because the Buffalo Bills aren't this traditional run team, you still have to make sure, because their quarterback loves to run. So you want to make sure that everyone's fitting their gaps, everyone is being eye-disciplined, everyone is playing their techniques, because this defensive line, if they're doing exactly what they're supposed to do, they're dominant. You're not going to run. You're not going to have a Saquon Barkley type of running game against them. That's if they're playing their proper technique, they're being eye-disciplined, and they're playing within a framework of the defense. So if they're doing that, it's hard to run against them. Now, if they get outside of that, it's a different story. But the Buffalo Bills, again, they're not this traditional, we got a back in the backfield or back in a fullback, and we're going to, 26 power, 27 power. That's just not them. What did they run the ball? I think Allen had 10 carries.
He had the most runs and the most yards.
Exactly. So if your quarterback is leading the team which you are playing in rushes and yardage, then this tells me this is not a run team. This is not Lamar Jackson, where Lamar runs, but they are a running team because they give it to their backs just as many times. No, Buffalo, they ride on the back of Josh Allen via the pass and the run. So even though I don't believe the Titans will have another one of those, days that they had last week, they still have to account for Josh Allen's ability to run the football. So I think they got back in the meeting room. They saw where they were bad at, the areas they were bad at in regards to the run. And Vrabel's not having that again. That's why it would be, even if this was a run-based team, say Indianapolis, I would be surprised if they gave up 200 yards again rushing.
Boy, I hope not. But, and on the flip side, too, I was curious about Buffalo running the ball because they do have a different offensive coordinator. The guy that left is the guy that we just saw on Sunday, Brian Daboll. So they do have a different guy calling the plays, et cetera. So I thought, especially in a game where they were winning, where, that's usually where you start to see more rushing attempts, right? When you're leading a game like they were against the Rams.
But that's not who they are.
That's not who. So they didn't change their identity. Now you're looking at the stats from the Giants game against the Titans going, man, Barkley gashed them a few times. Should we run it a few more times? I do wonder if that thought is in there. But something tells me they're just going to do what they do because it's worked so well. I just don't think they're going to change that much.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to deviate from who they are as a team. Josh threw the ball 31 times. He averaged, 9.6 per reception. That's how many, when he threw the ball, it went 9.6 yards down the field. That's how many yards they average. So 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. And I don't blame those, 2 interceptions on him. So he almost played a flawless game in regards to throwing the football. They were efficient, they were fast, they were physical. They knew exactly what they were doing from a pass standpoint. That's where I'm concerned with the Tennessee Titans. And I've said this many times. This defense, from a secondary standpoint, other than Byard and Amani Hooker, those corners are young. Inexperienced. I know Fulton was there last year, but he's still an inexperienced corner. And then you got McQuarrie and you have Farley and whoever else they choose to throw out there. They just don't have enough experience at the corner position where they can give up 161 yards and then expect to play really well in the secondary. No, a lot of what this team does is starts with the defensive line first, and the corners and safety benefit from that because it's the football. So, that lends to the Titans being a little bit better in the secondary. So it's going to be a huge task, a daunting one for the Tennessee Titans secondary. But if the defensive line plays the way they did in the first half against the Giants, if they play that way this Monday night, then I don't think you will see the sort of perfection or the surgical perfection that you saw from Josh Allen versus the Rams. I don't think you will see that versus the Titans if they play the way they are able to play up front.
Have to find a way to disrupt Josh Allen and that crew to have a shot. And nobody's been able to do it here going back to the last part of last year and, of course, in week 1. But it's early. We'll see what happens. We go to Buffalo at 1:15 and get more perspective from up there on the Bills. Hey, you're listening to Chase, Willie, and D-Mace live from the Hillside Medical Game Studio here in Nashville. Don't forget, over on our sister station, 94.9 The Fan, you can tune in for Nashville Sounds Baseball tonight at 7:05. The Sounds are at home at First Horizon Park, going out to the park. Always a great play. The weather has been beautiful lately. They're taking on the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp, AAA affiliate of the Miami Marlins. You laughing at the jumbo shrimp?
Yeah, the jumbo shrimp,
come on.
man. Come on. I hate jumbo shrimp.
It's really menacing when you have a big jumbo shrimp on your uniform, right? It's like intimidating.
It's
really
very intimidating.
The Sounds are trying to get into the playoffs, though. They've had a great run this year. We'll see if they can do it. And look, the Brewers are still in the race as well, trying to sneak in their affiliate. So go on out there. Sounds Baseball on 94.9 The Fan, presented by 312 Pizza and Farm Bureau Health Plan. Stay tuned. We're coming back with our 1 o'clock hour. We've got trivia during the 1, and we go to Buffalo. Stay tuned.
You love the game.
The door's on the board.
Strike three, Sounds win.
We live the game.
Going up against that defense, he can make some plays and take that next step.
We got pass rushers.
Checkered flag in the air. Awesome game 7.
What a stop made by Houston Sarah.
The game. Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game, and the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Hi guys, it's Andrew. Are you struggling with erectile dysfunction? Did you know that a major medical breakthrough has just arrived? Today, Wednesday, September 14th, we're running a one-day special you won't want to miss out on. Hillside Medical Clinic uses the most powerful form of wave therapy. This is a technology clinically shown to repair blood vessels and improve blood flow. It's backed by 60 clinical studies, including from Cambridge. If you're ready to regain that spark in the bedroom, today is your day. Call us now and you'll qualify for the assessment and ultrasound totally free. Also a gift that can produce powerful results in the bedroom in minutes. That's worth the trip alone, guys, trust me. And today only, we're offering 6 tune-up treatments to our patients free, worth $1,000. Call today and it's all no charge. 615-576-5000. That's 615-576-5000. Guys, put a stop to your erectile dysfunction and get your love life back. Call Hillside Medical Clinic now to qualify. This offer ends today. 615-576-5000.
A new fair is hatching in Nashville. Come on out and experience 10 days of dinner shows, barnyard animals, culture arts, sporting events, and 4 nights of Nashfest with themed music. We have something for everyone now through September 18th. Skip the line and buy online at nashfair.fun. A regional fair with an urban flair. The Nashville Fair. It's a hatchin' good time.
312 Pizza Company is a family-owned restaurant located in the heart of Germantown, serving up authentic Chicago-style eats right here in Nashville. 312 Pizza Company only uses the best all-natural ingredients and makes everything in-house from scratch every single day. And trust me, you can taste the difference. They've got deep dish pizza, thin crust pizza, their Italian beef. You'll taste the freshness. Stop in for a pint of local beer and a slice of pizza, or order online at 312pizzaco.com. 312 Pizza Company, Nashville's authentic Chicago pizzeria.
Hey guys, Jeremy here, General Manager at Blend Bar with Davidoff Cigars. We are the go-to spot in Nashville for the best old-fashioned, a nice relaxing cigar, and lots of high-end spirits and wine. Are cigars not your thing? No problem. We have the best ventilation system in the industry that provides a fresh, clean atmosphere for you and your friends. We are here to provide you a trendy, upscale experience in the heart of downtown. Check us out at 508 Church Street. Blend Bar with Davidoff Cigars. Luxury redefined.
Nashville Generators presents Power Outage Prepping. What are you going to do the next time you lose power? You can rummage through your drawers for batteries, flashlights, or candles, or you can call Nashville Generators, 615-885-1124, 615-885-1124. Nashville Generators will install a whole house Generac generator that'll keep your lights on, pipes flowing, and Wi-Fi working so you don't lose a thing. Don't let your family be displaced in the summer heat or freezing cold winters next time there's a power outage. Call the experts at Nashville Generators and be worry-free the next time bad weather comes to our area. Invest in a reliable system that automatically comes on to keep the pumps pumping, the kitchen cooking, and the family frolicking no matter what Mother Nature throws your way. Nashville Generators is the talk of the town. Go to NashvilleGenerators.com or call 615-885-1124 to start prepping now.
From the Hillside Medical Game Studios, WPRT-FM Pegram, WPUZ HD2 Laverne.
Chase Elliott scores the win in the Ally 400 at the Nashville Super Speedway.
Nashville's exclusive home for NASCAR. 102.5 and 106.3.
Terang, it's a high fly ball.
We got pass rushers.
Awesome game. Checkered flag in the air.
The Game.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Now let's see if we can bring them to life, all right?
Bringing you entertainment and informative sports talk during your workday.
Smart, funny, classy, and I like him a lot.
This is Chase, Willie, and D-Mace with Chase McCabe, Willie Donick,
Mason, touchdown, Tennessee.
and former NFL wide receiver Derek Mason on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game, and on the Game Nashville app.
This is a new level of geek you got going on here.
Final hour coming down the home stretch. Chase, Willie, and D-Mace here on 102.5 The Game before we hand the baton to Stillman and Company. We're going to catch up on our text line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com here in just a moment. But remember, you don't want to miss the Nashville's best NFL pregame show this Monday night. And it's live from the Twin Peaks in Cool Springs. Join Jared Stillman along with Derek Mason and the Forever Titan Chris Sanders. 5 to 7 coming up this week on the Monday night start prior to the Titans and the Bills. Our NFL pregame show is brought to you by TriStar Moving, Parman Tractor and Equipment, Screwball Peanut Butter Whiskey, Superbook Sports, and Ounce of Hope Cannabis Company. So that's coming up on Monday. We're already setting the table for you throughout the show today. And one thing that we didn't get to yet today as we look ahead is Josh Gordon going to get into the plans at all? But let's catch up on a couple of texts first. Derek, first of all, I want to thank Badger alum on the text line saying, sounds like Willie's being a Wednesday morning quarterback. Okay, so we can still be a Wednesday morning quarterback even? Yeah. So I appreciate that, Badger alum. Okay.
I don't know if that's good or bad.
Yeah, I don't know. Like midweek, can you still be looking? I guess I am.
Uh-huh.
We've got TD from Nashville saying if a kicker is expected to have a high 80-plus percentage rating, in other words, I mentioned this looking back on the bullet kick.
Mm-hmm.
Overall, kickers hit about between 83 and 84% of their kicks on average. Now, that includes everything. That includes the 25-yarders as well as the 55-yarders. So specifically 47, we're estimating you should probably hit 7 or 8 out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why we talked about if you can move it in quicker or move it in closer, even just a few yards, your percentages might go up a little bit. But he says, look, if you're going to keep the kicker to that standard, the expectations of the whole team should be at that standard. Running back percentage of no fumbles needs to be high. A wide receiver's catch percentage needs to be up in the upper 80 percentile. A lineman's blocking grade needs to be high, etc. Yeah, so TD, I agree with that. In general, it is different, though, I think, when you're looking at the kicker it's static, right? The ball's there. The uprights aren't moving, right? You do have the block, but it doesn't really count against the kicker if the kick is blocked, I don't think. It shouldn't anyway. But so what do you think of that principle? Obviously, every player holds themselves to a high standard.
I mean, every player wants to play at a high level. Now, with each position, it's graded differently. You can have, what you want. It's a quarterback, at least to my knowledge, has never completed 80% of his passes throughout the season.
Not for a season.
Yeah.
No. Although it's becoming more common that
you're talking about
passer gets into
mid,
the 70s.
Yeah, the 70s.
Yeah.
But you're talking about who? The elite quarterbacks.
Yeah. And it depends on how many passes are down the field.
Absolutely. So every position is graded differently based on what they have to do. The kicker, because it's the variables are different than it is for everybody else. I think there's more, even though you still got to have the line block and you still have to have the ball, get to you. Typically, those are the only two things that are, and then weather. Those are the only two things that are out of your control. It's not like, the defense they're playing in. We don't care what defense you're playing. We're just kicking the ball through the uprights. We don't care who's in the game. We're just kicking the ball through the uprights on the defensive side of the ball. Whereas from an offensive standpoint and a defensive standpoint, you got to count those things as being factors on what you do, the probability that it works and everything else. But the kicker, And again, I couldn't do it. You know, if you line me out there to kick a 10-yard field goal, more than likely I'm going to miss more than I make because that's not my job. I don't practice that every day. But just like a golfer and, you know, his swing or her swing or putting, there's a level or percentage that you need to be at.
That's where I got the 83%.
Yeah.
That is, and the kicker's almost their own worst enemy because they've gotten so much better collectively over the years. Back in the day where you had the straight-on kickers, those guys were barely making 50%, the best guys. And then Jan Stenerud came along, right? We're going way, way back. But if you go from all the toe ballers, right, then the gradual change to the soccer-style kick, the refinement, every 5 to 10 years you see see the bar raise, and guys just make a higher percentage. So right now the league average is about 83%. That's where I get that number from. It's not just something I pulled out of thin air. So I hope TD gets that. So Randy Bullock, you know, you got to make the key kicks at the key time.
Well,
he missed one. You know,
because
so hopefully the next time he's got to make the kick.
I go back to you. That's your job. That's your only job. Like the guys have done the hard work. And again, I couldn't be a kicker. You know, it's just that wasn't in the cards for me. Kicking wasn't in the cards for me. But the guys that are on the field, the 11 that are on the field, they're doing their job. They're doing their part, putting you in a position to kick a field goal. Now it's up to you. You've told Vrabel, listen, this is where I want the ball at. I feel comfortable in between this yardage and this yardage. So if you can get it to where I want it, then I'm good. Well, okay. Well, Vrabel did exactly what you wanted him to do. There was no rain. Well, there was some, but not at that moment. There was no rain. There was no, like, high winds. The snap was good. The place was good. The placement was good. Do your job. Is that hard to say? Like, do your job.
No, but you're just always looking for what you could. I think that's a good approach by everybody. It's like, what could I do? So I understand where TD's coming from. Hold yourself to the high standard, too. Don't put it all on the kicker. So it's all a blend of everything. Coy in Clarksville texts in on our text line. I hope Kyle Phillips can become our Cooper Kupp. He has the similarities. Do you agree?
No, he doesn't have the similarities of Cooper Kupp. Only similarities have is that they both are, you know, fair-skinned. That's it. That's all. That's the only similarities is the color of their skin. Everything else, no. Cooper Kupp, there's a reason Cooper Kupp had 1,900 yards because Cooper Kupp is an elite receiver. Kyle Phillips is a good receiver. Will he ever become an elite receiver? I'm not going to say never is never. I'm not going to say he never will, but
Coop has improved a lot over the course of his career.
But Coop was Phillips was a good receiver at UCLA as well.
Yeah.
But Cooper Kupp was a good receiver as well. And he elevated his game. And you saw it.
He played
each year.
They featured this on the Thursday night. Like, he played at the small college.
Exactly.
Right? He was not a big-time guy.
He wasn't a big recruit.
Yeah, not at all.
And
so he's like a self-made
I think
player.
He was at Washington State.
Eastern Washington,
yes. And he made a name for himself, you know, and went to the right team with the right scheme, and look at him now. But you can see the greatness in Cooper Kupp and what he does after the catch. He catches the ball as if it's just a walk in the park. He doesn't struggle with anything that he does. And that offense is tailor-made for him.
They run it perfect for him.
This offense in Kyle Phillips isn't Cooper Kupp and doesn't look like Cooper Kupp. Could he be a good player in this offense? Absolutely. Could he make, you know, big catches for them? Absolutely. He started this past Sunday. That catch on the sideline was a huge catch for him and a big confidence booster. So I believe moving forward, he will be a guy that's catching, you know, 5, 6, 7 balls a game.
Real quick before we go to Buffalo, are you hoping? Because I'm going to say that I am. Maybe we'll get a glimpse of this in the next coming days. I'd like to see Josh Gordon get into the plans this week. Is it time for him? If he's going to do it, should he? If he's making progress, should should he be active on Monday?
If you see that he's making progress, that he's picking up the playbook, because listen, he's only been here 2 weeks, going on 3 weeks. Well, it's probably been 3 weeks. He's been here because they got him right the last cut. So it had a week before. They had 2 weeks before they played an actual game. So this would be 3 weeks for him, going on 4. If he's shown that he's picked up enough of the offense, where you can put him in packages just like you do Traylon Burks, then he needs to be active, because Vrabel talked about it, and it's not something that I'm just making up. He's big, he's fast, he has a huge catch radius. Why not have him in the game? I would rather have him, if he has picked up on offense, but I'd rather have him in the game than Coley Hollister. I'd rather it be. Yeah.
And it's interesting because Hollister did make a contribution.
Exactly. But Sunday. Hollister did make a contribution. But I'm saying, if you're asking who I prefer Robert Woods, Traylon Burks, Nick Westbrook-Akine, Kyle Phillips, and Josh Gordon. That looks better than last week.
Mm-hmm. That would be something that I think would be of intrigue to watch for in the next coming days. Does Josh Gordon get into the plans? It's time. I think he's been there long enough. If he's going to make it, you would hope that he's at least going to be on the radar by Monday. But we'll see. When we come back, we'll go up to Buffalo, talk to Howard Simon from WGR, and then at the bottom of the hour, it'll be our daily trivia question. We'll tell you about the prize that you can win as well. Stay tuned. This is Chase, Willie, and D-Mace here on 102.5 The Game.
High school football is here. Join Big Joe Dubin every Friday night at 6 for the Apple Collision Center's Game Blitz, presented by National Playmakers Academy.
Just a small sample of these great coaches in our area.
We'll go around the mid-state for scores and reports on all the big games.
If I'm a high school coach, I want the challenge.
The Game Blitz is on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey, football fans. Dak Prescott here, and I'm here to tell you that with NFL Sunday Ticket only on DirecTV, you can watch your favorite team no matter where you live. Because NFL Sunday Ticket gives you every live out-of-market game every Sunday afternoon. So switch to DirecTV and learn how to get the 2022 NFL Sunday Ticket season included at no extra cost. Call 1-800-DIRECTV.
With choice package and above, 24-month agreement required. Call for details.
Hey, it's Hutton for the Low T Center. Guys, if you've noticed a lack of energy, motivation, and drive, it could be low T. Schedule your complete health assessment at Low T Center. They now offer the convenience of monitored self-injected home testosterone treatments for $155 a month cash pay or covered by most health insurance. If you don't live near a Low T Center or you just need the convenience of at-home treatment, Low T Center makes it easy to get started. Only your first 2 visits are in person. Go to lowtcenter.com now to book online. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
Hey guys, Jeremy here, General Manager at Blend Bar with Davidoff Cigars at 508 Church Street. Blend was voted Best Cigar Lounge in the world in 2017 and the Best Cigar Lounge in the country in 2020. It is the perfect spot to unwind after your workday or at nighttime. We are a trendy, upscale, luxurious bar experience. Visit Blend Bar with Davidoff Cigars at 508 Church Street. Visit us online at blendbarcigar.com. We are luxury redefined.
Golfers, tee it up this fall at Edwin Watts Golf Shops for big savings. Save up to $150 off on Ping G425 woods. Upgrade your gear with discounted Wilson stand and cart golf bags. And stock up on TaylorMade Distance Plus golf balls. Now 2 dozen for $35. Don't miss these items and more happening now at Edwin Watts Golf Shops and get a free custom fitting today. Edwin Watts Golf Shops, home of the 90-day satisfaction guarantee, or shop us online at worldwidegolfshops.com.
Finishing jobs on time, never being idle, and powerful equipment. Meade has the John Deere excavating equipment and the smart grade technology solutions for you and your business. Power your business with a new, used, or rented excavator and get the performance you expect and service you can rely on. Call us today for the equipment built as tough and reliable as you, or visit us at meadtractor.com. That's meadtractor.com.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well,
Trying to find a needle in a haystack? Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
I love this show. Never miss a moment of the show.
Okay, all right, okay.
Subscribe to the Chase, Willie, and D-Mace podcast on iTunes, Spotify, and wherever you get your podcasts. This is Chase, Willie, and D-Mace on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and on the Game Nashville app.
Back here on Chase, Willie, and D-Mace. Willie Donick and former Titan receiver, NFL great Derek Mason here with you on this Wednesday afternoon. Stillman and company poised and ready to go at 2 o'clock. Trivia at the bottom of the hour at 1:30 for a concert coming up at the Ryman, and that will be Jim Jeffries on October the 8th. So that's our prize tonight. So get ready to go at 1:30 for that. In the meantime, as we promised you, let's bring on Howard Simon from WGR Radio up in Buffalo. Times are good right now for the Bills. They look great in Week 1, and they will be taking on the Titans on Monday night. First of all, Howard, thank you very much for joining us, and I wanted to pass along our thanks for you coming on. And it was Pete Weber that was our scout. We said, Pete, we need a guy from Buffalo, and he mentioned you, and I know you go way back with him.
Pete's awesome. Pete's the best. I was just talking to him a couple of weeks ago. I've never met another human being who stores as much knowledge, remembers as many stats or stories, and has them at a fingertip in my entire life.
Yep, that's Pete. No doubt about it. He is the man when it comes to that stuff. He can go over plenty of Bills history. So, Howard, times are good for the Bills. How can they even, what are they worried about up there? They were so good in the first game on Thursday. What's on their mind?
Well, what's on their minds? In terms of what to fix in that game, there wasn't a lot. They turned the ball over, but their offense was still really good. I'll tell you what's on their minds. First, it's a tough schedule. The toughest part of the Bills' schedule, if you want to talk about the division, the conference, and all that, high expectations here. We're in the first half of the schedule. This is the most difficult part. So I think there's a little bit there. I'm sure some Bills fans are counting down the days until Trey White returns. Their number one cornerback, one of their best players on defense, is missing the first 4 games of the season. So they're playing some young corners, guys, for this matchup Monday night, including 2 rookies who are rotating in one of the starting spots. So I think that, stuff like that, nobody get injured. Maybe Josh Allen don't run as much as you do. That's some of the stuff we've been talking about.
We've been talking about this, Howard, how the Bills really don't go at you with a lot of volume of handoffs, but the Titans just got gashed by Saquon Barkley, and we were just wondering if that plants a seed at all for the Bills. But they're so good at doing what they do. Why would they change?
I'd hope they wouldn't. I think you hit it. What are you good at? This team is a pass-first football team. It has very dangerous weapons. They don't really have a dynamic running back who you'd really be afraid of. Devin Singletary's a good running back. Zach Moss is a limited-use guy, and he just fumbled in the opener, so people were a little down on him. There's a running back by the name of James Cook, who's a rookie who we're pretty excited about up here, but he fumbled and only got 3 snaps the other night. They don't have a guy who's going to go out there like Saquon Barkley. They have Stephon Diggs. They have Gabe Davis. They have Isaiah McKenzie. They have Jamison Crowder. They have Dawson Knox. They've got weapons in their passing game, and they have Josh Allen. But when they run, they just want to be effective, but I wouldn't expect them to change anything from their plan.
We'll talk with Howard Simon, co-host of WGR in Buffalo, their morning show. Now, Howard, they changed offensive coordinators. They go from Dabo to Ken Dorsey. Was that deliberate? Did they want to keep someone in house to run, ultimately the same offense that Josh Allen is used to?
Absolutely. I think that was a big, well, actually for a couple of years, guys, it's been a big offseason story here. Would Brian Daboll leave, off the success of the Bills' offense and Josh Allen? And I think keeping Ken Dorsey, Sean McDermott believes in a number of different things, including the importance of continuity. So if you're going to lose the offensive coordinator, the main play caller with Josh Allen, since he got here, you'd like to have the guy who has been in the room the whole time as well as the quarterback coach, Ken Dorsey. And he's never called the plays before. Well, opening night he looked fine. He did fine, I think. He's never called the plays before, but he worked with Brian Daboll. He was on the staff in Carolina with Mike Shula, so he's been around offensive coordinators. They've got 4 guys on the coaching staff for the offense who have offensive coordinator experience. So I think it was very important to keep Dorsey and to make sure that relationship with Josh Allen and now the play caller Ken Dorsey continued.
Now, has there been much talk, because the last time these two teams went head up, I think Derrick Henry had over 140 or 50 yards, and he broke off a really long one that ultimately had the Titans winning the game. Has there been a lot of talk about that game in particular this week?
Well, there's been talk about the last 2 games with the Titans. It's become a little bit of a rivalry, right, for teams that aren't in the same division, at least from the perspective of fans up here. So, yeah, there was talk about that game. Fans might remember more of Josh Allen slipping at the end of the game. The game 2 years ago that had a lot of crazy stuff going on. So I think
the schedule switch. For people that may have forgotten, the Bills, I don't think were very happy that they had to play the game. Of course, the Titans had gone about a week and a half without being able to gather because they had the outbreak in 2020. So that was a bizarre one, and nobody would have thought the Titans would have been as sharp, and they blew out the Bills.
Right.
So I'm sure that still stings.
Yeah, that's what I said. I don't think, to Derek's point, I don't think it's a lot about Henry, because you know what? If you look at their matchups, guys, prior to last season Henry killed him. He had the big run, right? Prior to last season, they did a pretty good job of limiting Derrick Henry. He didn't have those massive runs like he did last year. So I think there's less talk about that. It's a pretty good defense. I think it got better against the run, too, as opposed to last year's group, especially in the middle and defensive tackle. I think they're bigger and stronger than they were last year. So I don't think people are talking about it as much as overall, beating Tennessee, wanting to get to 2-0, because like I said, there's a big game coming up in week 3 in Miami. Baltimore, Pittsburgh, and Kansas City follow this.
Now, you have Stephon Diggs and then the emergence of Davis, who had a big game also last week. Now, this passing attack, they were good all last season, but now that, after that 4-touchdown game that Davis had, and now he's picked up where he left off, I can see why, watching that first game, how just methodical that Bills passing game was, because now Josh Allen feels that not only does he have a Stephon Diggs on the outside, but he has Davis, another big body guy that can stretch the field as well.
Yeah, he's a good player. He's looked good since he got here, and he's had a limited role his first 2 years because of a numbers game. John Brown was here. Cole Beasley was here. Last year, Emmanuel Sanders was here. But you could see in limited action, the kid, he's talented. He got really good routes. He's good at separating. He can also make catches in traffic. He's got a really good pair of hands. He's fantastic on sideline catches and keeping feet in. He comes up with big catches. Remember the playoff game in Kansas City last year? Please don't bring up 13 seconds, by the way, or home run throwback. So he's I still haven't gotten over it. I was on the field that day covering the game. He's really good, guys. Diggs is the guy you want to stop. You know that. But Gabe Davis, people here are expecting like a 1,000-yard season from him in year number 3, because he finally has been elevated to more of a full-time role in the offense.
We're talking to Howard Simon from WGR up in Buffalo. Howard, I'm just curious. I mean, I've always admired the Bills fans, because even during times that were tough, they've got tremendously loyal fans. It's not a huge market. So I'm wondering what it's like now on this uptick that they've been waiting for so long. You've got the great quarterback. Yeah. It's all coming together. So what's it like to cover him now?
It's great. I can't tell you guys how much fun it is. I mean, I'm not sure. I asked Sam, sure. I'll bet neither one of you experienced a 17-season playoff drought.
It's tough.
No.
Yeah. So, I mean.
It makes you take for granted sometimes that you've made the playoffs a few times because that's a heck of a drought.
Right. And that's why I think this is incredibly special. Now, what's different this year is this team has legitimate Super Bowl expectations. Basically, everybody up here, if you talk to a Bills fan anywhere in the country, they'll tell you they should have beat Kansas City. They would have come home beaten Cincinnati. They probably would have said they would have beat the Rams in the Super Bowl. If they didn't, after Thursday's game, they would have said they'd beat the Rams in the Super Bowl. So this season's completely different. This season there hasn't been anything like this, the feeling, in 30 years. Now, for me, I experienced it. For the older fans, they experienced it, and they're in the, this is the way it used to be here. This is really fun. It's a great neighborhood to be in. Let's really enjoy it. The younger crowd guys, either they weren't born or they just didn't appreciate the early 90s team. So they're experiencing these last few years, and they're experiencing this kind of buzz about the Bills for the first time. So it is a lot of fun to cover this team right now.
But not only do, obviously we don't want to talk about this, but I'm going to just mention it because I want to mention something else. Not only do we have the Music City Miracle in common, the Bills
sure. I knew you'd
versus,
mention it. Yeah.
versus the Titans, but also the Titans wanting a new stadium and then the Bills wanting a new stadium. Where is the talk set in regards to their new stadium?
Everything seems to be going along smoothly at this. I mean, most everything's been approved. They're still working out some things. I don't think it's like derailing it. So if everything goes according to plan, maybe 2026, if not 2027, they'll be in the new stadium, and they need it. The question was, how expensive and who's paying for it. But, the facility they've been in is approaching 50 years old, and it's taken hundreds of millions of dollars in renovations, and the upper deck is on its last leg. So they really needed to get a new place.
Howard, this has been great stuff. We knew you would get the job done. Pete's scouting report was right on, but we do have to ask the question. I know you're very professional, but have you done the swan dive into the picnic table for a tailgate?
Never.
Never. Okay.
If you guys knew how old I was and saw what shape my body was in, you would agree with me not doing that anytime soon. Derek can do that. I'm not going to do that.
I still wouldn't do it. That's why, I take my hat off to Bill Mafia, man, because those fans are crazy.
It really is. It's a great group, guys.
Boy, Monday night, home opener, my goodness. There's going to be a lot of tables that go down, I would think.
It's going to be electric. People were jacked up about that anyway. Then you throw in the Rams opener. I think it's going to be nuts up here.
Just don't leave your grill on, okay?
Oh, my God.
Make sure all grills are off, okay, when you go into the stadium. Goodness.
All right, I'll make sure we post signs or something.
Exactly.
Extra warnings. Howard, great stuff. Thanks a lot for your perspective. Enjoy the game on Monday. We'll talk to you down the road.
My pleasure, guys. You have a good day.
All right, that's Howard Simon, WGR up in Buffalo. Good stuff on what's happening up there. Must be fun right now for the Bills fans. They're feeling pretty good. When we come back, we'll have our trivia question. Maybe we'll have a little Bills-Titans flavor to it, and we'll see who wins our tickets today. Stay tuned. We're coming back.
Hi, I'm UC Saros. And this is Nashville.
Now here's a try off to the side. What a stop made by UC Saros there.
You're listening to the flagship of the Nashville Predators radio network. ESPN 1025, The Game.
In St. Pete, Clearwater, Florida, the beach is just the beginning. Because here, there's so much more to explore. So let's paddle, and maybe even parasail. Let's hit the trails, the coffee shops, the quaint boutiques, and craft breweries. And then let's indulge in some fresh seafood with a sea view. From the Gulf Coast to the Bay, there's something for every taste and every interest. So let's make the most of every sun-drenched minute, and let's shine. Start planning your next escape at visitstpeteclearwater.com.
The two most sought-after, most prestigious names in bridal jewelry come together for one epic event next weekend at Genesis Diamonds.
Tacori and Viraggio, the world's premier designers, will be showing off their entire collections. All the latest designs, many showcased for the first time ever, with up to $5,000 in savings.
See the latest from Viraggio, handcrafted on Fifth Avenue in New York by true artisans with unmatched attention to detail and the highest quality standards. Viraggio is the only ring that can be customized for every woman's specific desire. desires. Come explore the entire Veragio collection at Genesis.
If you're engagement ring shopping, this is a once-a-year event you can't miss. Other jewelers aren't even allowed to carry these iconic American-made brands.
Also for this event, Genesis is showcasing an expanded selection of GIA-certified diamonds in all shapes and sizes.
Next weekend, September 23rd through 25th, take advantage of special incentives, zero-interest financing, and as much as $5,000 in savings. Only at Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs.
Are you getting tired and getting hit hard with some higher costs this summer? We know times can be a little tough here and there. I'm glad to see the gas prices are down. I had to do a double take, under $3 for gas. How about that? But, hey, higher interest rates mean credit card bills might be going up a little bit. How'd you like to wipe those credit card bills out before the holidays? Well, Loan Pronto can help you do that. Your home's equity can rescue you. Your home's value is up, and there's a ton of cash that you can get now, and Loan Pronto specializes in this area. Zero cost, cash out home refis. You can get tens of thousands of dollars in as little as 2 weeks. Pay off those credit card debts. Consolidate everything into one super low payment and save around $800 per month from your monthly budget. That's what people are doing on an average when they call Loan Pronto. And even if your home mortgage rate goes up a little bit, it's offset by the fact that your credit card rate is going to zero. So when the rates come back down, Loan Pronto will help you refinance again for free. So that's the hook. Call Loan Pronto. They're great to work with. I've done so myself and our family. So call Loan Pronto. Do it now. You can even skip your next 2 house payments altogether. 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780, or go to loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781, subject to lender approval.
Injuries on the job can be devastating to both employees and employers. Your employees are in pain, may lose wages, and want to get back to work. Your business has lost a worker and may not meet goals and profits. Houston Clinic Orthopedics offers an extensive workers' compensation program to your business and your employees. They will work with you from start to finish, managing everything from appointment scheduling through reimbursement. For more details, call Houston Clinic Orthopedics at 1-800-323-8858.
Join us for the Thursday edition of Robbie and Rex Road. We'll be joined by Jared Stillman at 7 o'clock to look ahead to the Titans and the Bills. Big Monday night matchup coming up in Buffalo. It all starts at 6 o'clock. Robbie and Rex Road, 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
Hey Nashville, I'm Gary Smith, head coach of Nashville SC. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5, The Game.
Where is the suit? That is the question. What's he doing at this moment? He's in the building. He's not on the show.
No.
Suit duties.
Suit duties.
In fact, we looked at the suit's office today, right?
Yeah.
And we thought that there was something missing there.
He needs a secretary.
Yeah.
He's
a busy man.
He's a busy man. He needs, when you walk into his office, because there's like his a little area, then you got to walk into his office. He needs to have an assistant that when you walk into his office, they say, excuse me, are you here to see Mr. McCabe? Mr. Suit? Yeah, I need that. Well, I'm looking at his schedule. He's not available until June of 2023. So,
he did have a big board. There's a big board in there that's got every
it's
date
huge.
for the next 3 years, I think. So he's got a tight schedule, man.
Exactly.
You're trying to find some time to talk to the suit.
Oh,
so
man.
he'll be back with us tomorrow. Willie Donick, Derek Mason here with you here on 102.5 The Game. It's time for our daily trivia question, and we've got a nice prize for you. Any show is great at the Ryman, but this particular one, you'll have 2 tickets October the 8th to see Jim Jeffries at the Ryman, if you can answer today's question. Now, we just talked to Howard Simon. Really fun interview up in Buffalo. He said, don't go there. The Music City Miracle, but Derek couldn't resist to sneak it in there. You snuck it in there just a little bit. Just a little bit. You didn't rub it in that bad. But here is the question today, and we're going to do this on the air. We're going to put the pressure on you. You cannot text in the answer. You got to call. And we're going to do daily trivia during the 1 o'clock hour all the time here. So daily trivia, be ready for it every day at this time. So make it an appointment to see if you can win here. We want to test you. 615-737-1025. Now, here's the thing about the Music City Miracle game. we know in the backdrop there was the whole thing. In fact, Derek, I'll ask you, when the word came out that they were going to switch from Doug Flutie to Rob Johnson. Of course, you're playing offense. You're scouting the Bills team. Did that surprise you? I just remember being really – I was a huge Doug Flutie fan. He went 10-5 as a starter, but they made the switch for the playoff game.
Yeah, because originally Rob Johnson was the starter, and he ended up getting hurt, I believe.
Yep.
And Flutie came in, and Flutie was electric. He was like Kyler Murray, but better. He was a guy. He was he was Drew Brees, but not as good. But he knew how. He was a guy small in stature. He knew how to work the pocket. He knew how to, even at 6 foot, he knew how to find the open receivers, and he delivered. He was in sync with everything, and. That was the best thing that Buffalo could have ever done was not start Doug Flutie. But they did end up bringing him in the game. And that's when they started to mount their comeback. Was it that game?
No, they never brought in Flutie.
No, it was another game Flutie came in later in the year, like when we played him again some other time.
It was interesting. They went with Johnson. Johnson, you could say, put him in a position to win the game. They got down there. They took the field goal by Steve Christie to put him ahead. That set the stage for the Music City Miracle. So Johnson, if you're Wade Phillips, you could at least say, look, my guy had me right there. If we didn't have the miracle, we would have won the game.
But he was pedestrian on the whole game. He didn't play a great game.
No, he did not.
Yeah.
And so you wonder what if. That's a what if. What if Doug Flutie had started that game? But here's today's question. Jump in, 615-737-1025. Because of that, Flutie did not ever regain the main starting job for the Bills. The following year, he only started 5 games, and then the next year he was on a different team altogether. What team did Doug Flutie move on from when he left the Bills after that whole Rob Johnson controversy? He played for this team from 2001 to 2004, ages 39 through 42. What team did Doug Flutie move on to from the Bills? 615-737-1025.
You can't text it in either. Can't text the answer in. Got to call.
Got to call.
Yeah.
615-737-1025. Doug Flutie went from playing in the NFL after he won the Heisman Trophy at Boston College in the 80s. Then he went from 1990 to 97.
In the U.S.
Played in the CFL. In the CFL. And he was maybe the greatest player in the CFL during that time. I think you could probably make that argument. He was the best player in the league. And you just thought, well, that's going to be a nice little career for Doug Flutie. But then at age 36, he comes back to Buffalo.
Did he and the Missile play together?
In the CFL.
Ismail.
Yeah, Rocket Ismail?
Yeah.
That's a good question. I feel like that's true. I'd have to go look.
Was it Argonauts? Was it Toronto?
He played
Argonauts?
for 3 different teams. He played for the BC Lions, Calgary Stampeders, and then the Argonauts.
Argonauts. Okay.
Toronto
I think
Argonauts.
that's where they may have.
They might have.
Yeah,
they might have.
Up.
I know Rocket Ismail was a great player in the CFL, for sure.
Absolutely. He was. Was he runner-up in the Heisman? His senior year
on that Notre Dame team.
Notre Dame team, yeah.
Might have been. He was in the mix.
Yeah.
He was right there, but he didn't win it.
No, he
I'm
didn't
trying to
win
remember
it.
who would have won it during those years where he was putting up the great numbers at Notre Dame. 88, 89.
Because he was Desmond Howard before Desmond Howard. He was the guy that was,
just
doing
the
all
game
these things.
changer.
Because he was after
Tim Brown.
Tim Brown. He was after.
He
Tim
was
Brown.
after Tim Brown.
Yeah, but Tim was great.
And Tim Brown did
won
win
the
the
Heisman.
Heisman.
Yeah. Tim was great now, but the Rocket just was different. He was faster, even though Tim was fast, but he was just a different dynamic player than Tim Brown was.
All right. Do we have contestants next? 615-737-1025.
Oh yeah, we got a lot of them calling in.
Okay.
Yes.
I can't see the text line. Okay.
I
so-
got you.
All right. Who's our first contestant?
We are going to throw in Michael. Michael, you are on the show.
All right, Michael. Are you ready?
Yes.
Doug Flutie left the Bills to go to what team after the whole fallout from the Music City Miracle?
I believe it was San Diego.
San Diego is correct. The San Diego Chargers.
The Chargers.
Now for bonus
Now,
points.
had you had said the L.A. Chargers, that would have been wrong, technically, yes. No, I'm just messing with you.
All right, bonus points here. He started every game for the Chargers in 2001 and then ended up becoming their backup. But he went to a different team to end his career in 2005 at age 43. Do you remember what team he finished his career with?
I don't know. Flutie.
Washington?
It wasn't Washington. I'll give you a hint. He finished his career by making a drop kick. Remember they put him in for the drop kick? And he actually executed it and kicked it through the uprights for an extra point.
I don't know why.
Yeah, I vaguely remember that. I just can't remember the team.
I don't know why I'm thinking Minnesota, but that was Jeff. No, that wasn't Jeff George that went to Minnesota ultimately at the end. Yes, it was.
It was the New England Patriots.
Did he go to New England?
Bill Belichick put him in there to do the drop kick. Yeah, he was backing up. I can't remember who their quarterback. I mean, it was Brady. Obviously, was on the was the man. But I don't know if he was the second string or the third string. I'm trying to remember.
What year was that?
2005. He didn't appear very much for them. He was 5 for 10
who was
on the season. Yeah. So I don't know if they needed a backup. They had Brady. But
Tom Brady.
But he did connect on the drop kick. But well done. We're going to put you on hold. Congratulations on winning today's trivia question.
Oh, wow.
So he went to the Chargers.
I wouldn't have guessed that one. I'm trying to picture him.
And I feel if I've got my time right, that would have been when Breeze would have taken over for the Chargers before he then went to
What year
the
was
Saints.
that again?
2001. Flutie started every game for the Chargers. And then after that, I think is when Breeze came in, if I remember correctly. And Flutie was backing up for a while.
Okay.
Quite the career. Quite the events for Doug Flutie. One of a kind.
He sort of took the Warren Moon approach, to his Warren Moon's path to the NFL, because Warren Moon toured up in the CFL and then came to the NFL, and Warren is a Hall of Famer now.
Yep.
Well, Flutie toured up in the CFL and was really good, not Hall of Fame, but really good in the NFL.
And he had to wait a long time. He was older. Now, remember, he did get a taste of the NFL right out of college. Mike Ditka threw him in there for a playoff game, and he just wasn't ready. He was young. It was controversial. Ditka just really thought he would get the job done just magically, like he always had in his career. Didn't go well. Then he ended up on the Patriots, and on some bad Patriots teams in the late 80s. And then the next thing you know, he's in the CFL. You didn't hear from him for a long, long time. All right, that's our nostalgic segment for the week. When we come back, we will come down the home stretch, look ahead to Stillman and Company, tell you what's happening on their show. And let me tell you first about QC Kinetics as we get things cranking here. QC Kinetics has got that cutting-edge stuff that you're looking for. If you've had the joint pain and you're trying to prolong your career like Doug Flutie and play for a long, long time, hey, listen to Emmett Smith and the people giving you the news about QC Kinetics. Listen to me. I've been telling you about them for a while. They've got that cutting-edge stuff, regenerative medicine. It's new. It's exciting. It is not traditional. They have no drugs, no downtime involved, no surgery involved. What it is, they use highly concentrated healing properties from your own body to restore and repair damaged joint tissue. QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in this exciting breakthrough natural approach to eliminating joint pain. So don't assume that the traditional ways of dealing with joint pain are the only ways. So find out more about QC Kinetics right here in town. You get a free consultation. Don't put it off. Call 615-249-4024. That's 615-249-4024 for QC Kinetics. That's 615-249-4024.
185! Every team needs a quarterback.
185! Good!
That's why we have
Hasselbeck, bootleg, rollout, toss, touchdown!
Tim. ESPN NFL analyst Tim Hasselbeck gives his expertise on all things NFL.
How that team is built, I think there's a lot to like about it.
Every Tuesday at noon, Tim with Chase, Willie, and D-Mace. Presented by Red Spirits and Wine in Bellevue and BetUS.com on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center, I'm Fox 17 Code Red meteorologist Greg Bobis. Today, starting off cool in the afternoon, takes us back into the middle 80s later today. Low humidity, no chances for rain, and we'll stay on the mainly sunny side, but also warm up near 90 degrees into the weekend.
Brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
At Third and Home, you can watch the Nashville Sounds from the patio and your favorite college or NFL game in September. All the sports in one spot, plus drink and wing specials, burgers, flatbreads, and more. Don't worry, your game will be on one of the 28 TVs, so you don't miss any of the action. Follow Third and Home Bar on social for all the info.
The Nashville Sheriff is hiring correctional officers. Earn $52,500 after paid training and probation. Positions are available immediately. You must be 21 and over with a high school diploma or GED. Come, join our family. That's $52,500 with great benefits. Apply now at sheriff.nashville.gov/apply or call 615-862-8170. Earn $52,500. Stop searching. Apply now. The Nashville Sheriff.
BetUS.com is back for our 29th year of football action. With the industry's biggest sign-up bonus of up to 200%, BetUS offers our members the chance to cash in on all your favorite sports. Sign up at BetUS.com or call 1-800-79-BET-US, where the game begins.
Jared Stillman.
If you get 3 games where he doesn't turn the ball over, you're going to the Super Bowl.
Caroline Fenton.
I don't know if he would be open to joining another team.
Stillman and Company. Afternoons from 2 to 6.
Presented by TriStar Moving.
On Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN.
102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
I'm ready to step this up a notch.
You're listening to Chase, Willie, and D-Mace on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
Hey, don't forget to tune in to Sunday's NFL Games of the Week here on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. The first game will be the Patriots and the Steelers. That's coming up at noon, followed by the Bengals against the Cowboys. NFL Games of the Week brought to you by Red Spirits and Wine in Bellevue. Willie Donick, Derek Mason here with you. The Cowboys, without Dak Prescott, play the Bengals. Now, you talk about two teams that had some wacky things happen in the first week. The Bengals are still trying to figure out what the heck happened in their game. That game was crazy, but they're 0-1. Dallas 0-1, so a couple hungry teams. What do you think? Dallas, can they hang on? Like if you feel like Prescott could come back at some point, let's say it's 6 to 8 weeks. Let's even go on the short side. They seem to be optimistic. Let's say it's 5 more games. Can they survive?
You would, I mean, Dallas fans hope that they can survive, even though if you check out social media, Dallas their season is already over based on social media. So they believe that, their backup Cooper Rush can come in, and hopefully if Dak is only going to miss at most 4 games, then depending on what their next 4 opponents look like, they feel they can, still stay above water. They have, they have Cincinnati coming up, the Giants, Washington, and the Rams. So I'm sure they're thinking if we can just, Giants and Washington, if we can win those 2 games, then we should be fine if Dak does come back week 5, which is week 6, versus Philadelphia.
Ooh, that's a big one.
Yeah, that's a big one.
If he could be back for that.
They're going to need him back because they would have already played 2. Well, they would have already played 3 divisional games. The Giants, Washington, up until that point, and then Philadelphia will be their 3rd.
Now, remember, too, they have not put him, as of today, on IR, so they think he could be back before that. But we'll see. I wonder.
Well, they need
if
him on
they're
this
overly
stretch.
optimistic. I mean, he's got to be able to grip it and throw it the way he needs to. So you have all this action going on in Vegas as a result of this. Here's one of the props that's out there right there. Will Cooper Rush start every game that Dak Prescott is out? Because there's all this speculation. You know, who's out there, right, for this situation? Jimmy G, right? But you have salary cap. You'd have to trade for him. I'm very curious if Jimmy G ends up quickly, because that's another prop bet in Vegas right now you can get odds on. Will Jimmy G start a regular season game for the 49ers? Not injury related, because remember what happened? Trey Lance kind of laid an egg in his first game. So just like we speculated weeks ago, if he's on the team, Jimmy G, and you're sitting there looking at they've won a lot of games with this guy, Trey Lance is struggling, how much time do you give the youngster?
Listen, you have to ride with him until you can't no more, because this is Kyle Shanahan's hand-picked guy, Trey Lance. This is the guy that he wants to be the leader of this franchise moving forward. So you did all of this to get Trey Lance, and Jimmy G played good last year, not great, but with Jimmy G underneath center, you're more likely to go to the playoffs. Well, Kyle Shanahan said, listen, Trey Lance is my quarterback. So with that being said, I think he holds on to Trey Lance for as long as he possibly can, because if you now go to Garoppolo, the man's confidence is shot. It's done. To me, it is, because you were named the starter. You couldn't cut it. They had to go back to the original starter. That is a confidence killer.
You're talking about a team that has really high expectations, too. And so that is something to watch for sure. It's so much so that here's another prop bet from our man Jimmy Shapiro, who always sends me the stuff on these prop bets. And so many people tell you, don't do the prop bets. It's just not good odds. Your chances of winning are really slim, but you can see the intrigue in some of these things. How about this? First quarterback to be benched, non-injury related. That's a prop bet you can get right now. Mitch Trubisky is number 1 at odds 2-1. Trey Lance is number 2 at 9-2. And then number 3, Ryan Tannehill. Come on.
What?
I mean, that's a waste. 5-1 odds. That's a waste of time.
Don't even make that bet.
No. Yeah. Why would you do that? 5-1.
Don't make that bet. The man is not getting benched. From judging from his past, he's not going to play that bad where the Titans say, you know what, we're going to bench you and go with the rookie Malik Willis. Carson
Wentz is 20-1. I would think that there's way more scenarios that he could get benched than Ryan Tannehill at this point. And it's not like the Titans have the guy ready. Like, they don't have Jimmy G sitting there.
That's why
they're not ready.
These are sucker bets, man.
Sucker bets, yes.
That's what they are.
I agree. How about this? First coach to get fired, the odds right now. Who do you think's at the top of the list? Odds-wise.
Top of
Again,
the
take
list.
it with a grain of salt, because we really disagree with some of these odds.
Boy. I would Chicago's coach, but he just got there. They just won. Man, I'm trying to think. Like,
well,
who could? It's nobody in the Indianapolis coach. Frank
Reich is up there. He's 9.
He
is 9-1. But would you believe that Mike Vrabel is also 9-1?
Seriously?
Reich, I can understand how you come up with that. Vrabel at 9-1, which is tied for the 4th highest odds in the league to get fired first or resign. Come on. That's ridiculous. Mike Vrabel's not getting fired. Yeah. He's not resigning. He will not. It's not going to happen.
Is it Kingsbury?
Cliff Kingsbury is 5-1. They're 2 above him.
Wow.
Mike McCarthy at 7-2. Just because people don't like him. And it's the Cowboys.
Exactly.
And he's in the pressure cooker. Dak Prescott is injured, so McCarthy is number 1. Number 2 is Matt Rule at Carolina. So game 1, they had it in the palm of their hand, and the guy smoked the field goal and made a hero out of the Browns. So that'll do it for us today. We're back at it full strength tomorrow. The suit will be back. We'll have underdogs at noon. Andrew Marinus will join us on the show tomorrow. We'll have our daily trivia question. We're going to do it all as we get set for the weekend. Coming up, Stillman and Company from right here in our studio. Stay tuned to 102.5 The Game.
We out.
Stuck at work without a radio?
Wait a minute, disastrous.
I hate that.
It's got to be there.
That's okay. Download the Game Nashville app or go to thegamenashville.com and listen live. We are Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Hi guys, it's Andrew. Are you struggling with erectile dysfunction? Did you know that a major medical breakthrough has just arrived? Today, Wednesday, September 14th, we're running a one-day special you won't want to miss out on. Hillside Medical Clinic uses the most powerful form of wave therapy. This is a technology clinically shown to repair blood vessels and improve blood flow. It's backed by 60 clinical studies, including from Cambridge. If you're ready to regain that spark in the bedroom, today is your day. Call us now and you'll qualify for the assessment and ultrasound totally free. Also a gift that can produce powerful results in the bedroom in minutes. That's worth the trip alone, guys, trust me. And today only, we're offering 6 tune-up treatments to our patients free, worth $1,000. Call today, and it's all no charge. 615-576-5000. That's 615-576-5000. Guys, put a stop to your erectile dysfunction and get your love life back. Call Hillside Medical Clinic now to qualify. This offer ends today. 615-576-5000.